Recording in progress.
Thank you, Honorable Ntetwa. I will call on Honorable Utuli once again. And if she's still not there, it will be the last now. So we will now continue and then call on Honorable Sileko.
Chairperson.
At last, I'm sorry, I really tried my best. You came just in time. Honorable Utuli.
Thank you, Chairperson. No, I could hear you, but then for some reason, I think my network is fading me. Can I have my video off, please?
Agreed. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Chairperson, issue ye township economy ithanda ukuba inkinga ngaso sonke isikhathi ngoba siyaqonda ukuthi emalokishini even uma kuvulwa ama-malls abantu basemalokishini nabasemakhaya abasiwona ama-beneficiaries alama-malls ngenxa yokubiza kwe-space kuwona ama-malls. But uma bese sibuyela back kulezi iy'tolo ey'ncane ey'ranwa abantu basemalokishini kubonakala sengathi i-funding yokuthi bakwazi ukuthi bavale i-gap between iy'tolo ey'nkulu nabo inkulu kakhulu ngoba abakwazi ukwenza ama-bulk buying ukuze bakwazi ukuseva imali nanokuthi sivale i-gap between i-price yokudayisa i-aphula lilodwa between uSpar nomama odayisa emgwaqweni. Iyiphi uhlelo umnyango wakho Deputy Minister enalo to make sure ukuthi i-price iyafana ukuze kwazi ukuthi i-economy nayo ilingane ndawo yonke kulezi ntolo ey'nkulu ey'ncane? Ngiyabonga.
Thank you very much, Honorable Utuli. Honorable Sileko, you will be the next.
Baie dankie vir die geleentheid en goeiemiddag ondervoorsitter.
My plesier.
Ek gaan nou nie lang wees alhoewel ek lank is. Ek gaan baie kort wees want ek het baie lank gewag vir die trein om by die stasie te kom. Ek is bly die trein het gearriveer. Minister, probably
Wat is jy so wel sprakend?
As daai dag van die jaar. This is directed to the Minister Stella Ndabeni-Abrahams, the incoming Deputy President of the African National Congress. Probably the top priority in unlocking the township economy will be to ensure the safety of the entrepreneurs, regular customers, as well as your local and international tourists. With the inefficiency of SAPS, this potential market and its growth is stunted. What engagements have you had with Minister Ndosikele to help protect this vulnerable market with increased visible policing, especially during potential peak periods? Baie dankie, ondervoorsitter.
Baie dankie, agbare Sileko. Honorable Nchabaleng, you will be the one that will be. Let me take Tebogo Modise before you, because it's now that I see Modise and Mahlangu also have raised their hands. Let me take Modise and then you and then Mahlangu, at least.
Njado also, Deputy Chair.
Okay.
Deputy Chairperson, proud to sit as well, please.
Okay.
Nomkiva, Chairperson, please.
No, let me go back. Let me go back to the participants. I will see, because I've recorded those that have gave notice before. So Nchabaleng, you may continue then, so that let me then check the others. You may continue.
Let me take this opportunity to join other members in thanking you and the management of the NCOP, the leadership, for having made this interaction with this ministries possible. That we can engage and the public will see what really we are trying to do to make life much easier for our people in townships and rural areas. It's just unfortunate that this is because of the apartheid spatial planning that we have this kind of arrangement where the poorest of the poor are in townships and rural areas. we've been changing our country more than we did our shoes, Honorable Deputy Chairperson. But the changes, slow as they are coming, we really need to do more to ensure that we rise up to the occasion, where our people get better services. My question goes to the DTIC. South Africa's townships still experience poor investment, overpopulation, poor infrastructure, high levels of unemployment, deepening poverty, and isolation from mainstream economic centers. Through the DTI Special Industrial Development Program, what measures have been put in place to create an environment that will respond to the challenges identified? My second question talks to the development of finance institutions like the Industrial Development Corporation and the National Empowerment Fund are important to the development and growth of SMEs and industrialization. What role are the IDC and NEF playing through the district development model in facilitating support for townships and rural businesses? Thank you very much, Deputy Chair. Bye,
thank you very much, Honorable Nchabeling. Honorable Modise. Deboho, unmute.
Thank you very much, Deputy Chairperson, members, and ministers that are in platform, and Deputy Minister. My question, Deputy Chair, goes to the Minister of Small Business Development. I just want to know what is the department doing Gauteng provincial government, which has developed legislation for the development of township economy? That's my first question. The second question is, how is the infrastructure as municipal communities for emerging Black farmers, business parks for the office space or incubators, access to water and electricity by the emerging farmers, especially for those who are venturing into agro-processing, including part of facilities for small-scale fisheries being developed as part of coordinated effort for township economic development. I thank you, Deputy Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Modise. Honorable Bratase.
It's not me. Okay.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you for accommodating me. Chairperson, I'm also in a place with low signal, so I'll leave my camera off if that's okay. Chairperson, my question is as follows. It doesn't matter where you move in South Africa. There are spaza shops all over the place owned by foreigners. These foreigners have identified a gap in the market and are filling that, often providing close access to goods that residents would otherwise have to travel quite a distance and incur considerable costs to obtain. What has the department done in conjunction with Home Affairs to ensure that legal foreigners are protected from being targeted, and to ensure that the skill set and market access they have are also available to deserving South Africans to compete fairly to customers? Thank you, Deputy Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Bratase. Honorable Mahlangu.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson, and greetings to the leadership, the DM, the minister, and honorable members on the platform, permanent and special delegates. Honorable Chairperson, allow me to not switch on my video due to my network, which is unstable.
It's
Thank
fine.
you. Thank you. Deputy Minister and Minister, thank you. We really appreciate the presentations that you have presented to us, which are speaking directly to our citizens and our constituencies. The DTIC has, through the remained industrial put master plans at the center of the country's industrialization effort, which includes partnerships with the private sector and labor. And you have really spoke to this during the end of your presentation, and I appreciate that. In the implementation of these master plans, Honorable DM, how many of this how many of this has been extended to townships and rural economies, and how has these master plans been beneficiary to small township enterprises? And to assist, maybe also to speak to the specifics in as far as this industrialization is concerned. I am hereby making a request that let the department please come closer to the rural areas and townships that we are representing. I'm specifically speaking to a winery that was very vibrant and has given people work before. That is in Lobspruit, Thembisile municipality, just in around my township. And also those small industries in Dr. J.S. Moroka and Thembisile and others in the other parts of the province of Mpumalanga. They need to be resuscitated so that we can ignite the economy and create more jobs to the people. And lastly, Honorable Deputy Chairperson, I hope when the minister is talking about this revitalization of small industries, and specifically is talking to the textile and the food chain and others, I hope the Ecandustria has been resuscitated as it has been declared by the president in one of the State of the Nation address. So I will really appreciate, if possible, the minister can speak and assure the citizens about the specifics, if she is aware. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Honorable Mahlangu. Honorable Mutsamai. Honorable Mutsamai.
Thanks, Chairperson. Deputy Chairperson, I would like to botsa putso mabapi le batho ba rona ba bo mme ba rona ba itshotlehelang ke shebisitse mo small business, Deputy Minister. Bo mme ba rona ya ka ya re bua yana ha dipula dina ga ba rekisi gobane ga gona di shelter mo go etsa mo ba rekisetsang teng. For example, mo Katlehong mo Letsogo Mall ba rekisa diaparo tse reng ha dipula di tla nakong di tla ka matla di nela diaparo tse tsa bone tse ba iphedisang ka tsone le bana ba bone be le gore ba di nka ba tsamaya le tsone tse di netswe ke pula jwalo. Bothata bo bongwe bo etsagalang MPD maponesa gone mole ba tla ba kuba ba tsamaisa ba ya bo patala go rekisetsa mo pele mo ba rekisetsang teng. A gona le matsapa o le letseno le leng gore Deputy Minister a ka mfetola gore ba ikeletse go thusa batho ba ba rona jwang gore le bone di business tsa bone di tswelele pele. Ke a leboga motlatsa modulasetulo.
Thank you, Honorable Mutsamai. Then the final one will be from Honorable Mkiva, before we will give over to the Deputy Minister first to respond and then to the Minister.
Honorable Jadu.
Honorable Jadu, you are gone. Let Honorable Mkiva just continue and then I will take you because I don't see your hand here on the system, that's why. But I will now allow Honorable Mkiva and then you can conclude.
No, thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Masibulele kakhulu, bulise kumalungu onke endlu. And
Thank you, Chairperson. Greetings to all the honorable members and the Honorable Minister.
Minister Stella Ndabeni Abraham.
It seems as if the Honorable Mkiva is kicked out by the system. Honorable Njadu, you can proceed for now. We will come back to Honorable Mkiva.
Ndikhona apha into nayo ndiyabona ukhona umuntu ewangenelela emhlali ngaphambili.
You can continue.
Bendisitsho ubana ke ndizibulisele kumalungu
I was saying I greeted all the honorable members and the Honorable Minister.
Minister, siyabulela kakhulu ngomsebenzi omhle owenzayo. Ezi nkcukacha usiphe zona namhlanje ziyasinabisela kakuhle ngobukhulu esenikwenzileyo. Ndicela nje ubuza imibuzo ibe mibini, ndizayibuza ngolwimi lasemzini. The Competition Commission in 2021 released guidelines for the automotive aftermarket that aims to ensure that original equipment manufacturers remove the restrictions placed on car owners when they choose service providers, when they maintain and repair their cars. This was meant to unleash entry and participation into the after-sales value chain by SMMEs. What efforts have the department undertaken to support and ensure the participation of SMMEs in this industry located in rural areas and township? Umbuzo wesibini mphathiswa ungokubana abantu basemakhaya uyenza njani into kokubana bafikelele ncakasana kwizimali ezikhutshwa ngurhulumente ekuxhaseni amashishini nabarhwebi abazinze kakhulu ezilalini nasezilokishini. Ingaba alikho na icebo lokuqinisa amaqhele kulo mcimbi ngokuthi kuguzulwe izinto ezenza into kokubana bangafikeleli msinya kwakunye nezinto ekulindeleke into abazikhuphe abakude nazo njengabantu abahlelelekileyo abakude nesizikithi soqoqosho selizwe. Ndingavuya kakhulu ungasicacisela ngolo hlobo. Xa ndiyibeka ngesingesi maybe, wouldn't you have a way of coming up with a customized funding model in order to strengthen your broader modeling, your broader funding model at a national level in order to ensure easy access, particularly for people who have never participated and people who have never accessed funding, who come from the margins of our society, particularly those that are in rural and townships. Thank you very much, Mhlali ngaphambili ngethuba onphelona, ndiyabonga kakhulu. Camako.
Ndiyabonga, Honorable. There was a problem with the interpretation, but I think in the response to the minister, we will understand better what was actually asked by Honorable Mkiva. I hope so, but again, we request that the interpretation be restored so that we don't have the problem of not knowing or not getting one another. Honorable Njadu.
Good afternoon, Honorable Deputy Chair. Good afternoon to all the members and the ministers and the deputy ministers. Deputy Chair, my question will be to the Minister of Small Business. Entrepreneurship needs constant adoption. Therefore, Deputy Chair, as the world economy evolves, which necessitates the need to always upskill and educate, entrepreneurs. Now, the question, Deputy Chair, is that what measures has the department adopted to invest vigorously in education and training among young entrepreneurs to capacitate them to sufficiently respond to the needs of the specific market? Thank you very much, Deputy Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Njadu. I just want also to join Honorable Nana and Honorable Njadu when they speak about the capacitation. And I want to actually recommend that the departments, together with the Department of Education, begin to look into how do we train or educate for the economy of our country, particularly in areas like entrepreneurship. That is also just my contribution. And I will now immediately call on the Deputy Minister to be the first one to begin to respond to the engagements of the members, and then we will request the Minister. Honorable Deputy Minister Kina, over to you.
Thank you very much, Deputy Chairperson of the session, Deputy Chair of the NCOP. Yeah, it was quite mouthful, but as I've said, coming up here, we learn so much, because sometimes even from the questions themselves, it's more than just a question, but it's a contribution as to say how best and what is it that we can do more as the department, as government, is in making sure that we change the plight of our people that are faced with. So thank you very much, really, for those questions. Let me start also by this one, Chair, that you are ending up with, that was raised by yourself, Honorable Njadu, Honorable Nana, on the capacitation, starting from the very young age of our children. For me, is the suggestion as to say, yes, as small business, as Department of Trade, Industry and Competition, we might be having the sessions where we train the people getting into starting their companies, training them, as small business have just said, on how to package, how to start their businesses and so forth. But it is very important that we have our own children getting that solid background and basics from the very early stages. And really, as I'm saying, it's one area, yes, we do have intergovernmental meetings, but it's one area that needs to be emphasized. Really, when we listen to the Department of Education talking to the issues of decolonization of education, it's one area where we look and review the curriculum that they must do and make sure that they stick to this. So the story that Honorable Nana shared, when I was doing the presentation, we were saying those are such case studies where we need to sit down even with those who have traveled the road and say, what are the lessons that you can best learn from them? Honorable Nana, really, I promise it's one story that I need to listen to, that we need to get to share even the experiences from that business person, Umtwana Comrade Unesi, as we were talking about him. I can assure you there is so much that we can learn, and we take those lessons even further, as to say, with basic education, what is it that they can do? What is it that we can do? Even getting to the Department of Higher Education and Training, because that is where we are saying they come in with the issues of skills. What is it that our TVET colleges are doing? Because we believe that is where these people are trained and they are cooked in making sure that they can be the best business people and contribute to the economy of our country. So we'd really we'd do a follow-up on that, Deputy Chairperson. Thank you so much. Chairperson, again, I know the questions, the way they've been raised, I might not go to person by person because so many of them were interlinked, But I just want to touch again on the issues of the co-host. Ask you to start your video.
Chair, I'm experiencing load shedding. I see the message here. I'm not sure whether it's directed to me or everyone that the host asked you to start your video. I think I'm audible, Chair. Can I be allowed to not to switch on my video? If you can allow that, Chair. I'm still here. It's still myself, but for the purposes of can I switch it off?
Yeah, we've observed that you have got a network issue or a bandwidth you, so you.
Okay.
Fine.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I was saying another critical point that was raised by most of the honorable members, like Honorable Khayi has raised it, and who else? The issue of how do we make the programs, the assistance known out there so that people can know what is it that you are offering. You know, there's so much that we can come here and say we are doing, but if our own people do not know how to access even the information, that is it's quite a huge thing to look at. Let me make an example. Within the department, it assists the small businesses, people that are coming in, the regulatory bodies that you are having, things like SAPS, SANAS, NRCS. That is an information where we have been saying just 2 weeks ago, we have been even presenting to the NA, the portfolio committee, as to say, we're trying by all means to have those stakeholder engagements, to have those trails going to the provinces, as to say, these are the services that you are bringing. What is it? So that people can know where to get the assistance and how to access all the assistance that the government is coming up with. So it's one critical area, really, even with all the funding packages that we are having together with our agencies. It's one thing that we are working very hard on, but we always say we are even relying on our honorable members as public representatives, as to say, in all the constituent offices that we are working in, these are kind of information that we must make sure that they reach our people, they know which door to knock, so that we can open up and expose our people into the assistance that the government is offering. It's quite it's not easy to reach every corner, but we are saying, yes, as the department, we might not be having that capacity to do that, but we are trying, working together with our counterparts in the provinces and making sure that this information is known. But really, I will always plead as to say, can we also get this into our constituent offices where such information is being shared and distributed to our communities so that they know exactly what is it that they do. The issue of red tapes, the access to the assistance that is there, it's one thing really. One honorable member said even the president has talked to the issue of the red tape even in the SONA. Yes, even as the Department of DTI, the DTIC, when it comes to the issue of red tapes, I'm saying, Honorable Chairperson, we are working on that. We are trying to cut all the red tapes as much as we can. Yes, as Minister Ndabeni was saying, but not being open up to any kind of, abuse, corruption, and so forth. And Deputy Chairperson, really, we had a very good presentation that we were doing in Parliament these past weeks, of which I wish we can even come to the NCOP and share how are we managing with all our agencies, our entities within the department, in making sure that when it comes to the issues of cutting off the red tapes, making sure that we open up for our people to access the services that we are bringing to them. We are willing to come and do that and make sure, but it's one thing that I can assure you that we are working on. Honorable Boshoff said, I need to, how did she put it? He said, let me commit today when it comes to the issues of red tape, the red tape cuttings and so forth. That is why I'm saying we are open up. We can come and make a full presentation on that, as to say we have made strides in making sure that we work towards the cutting of red tape so that we open up for our people to access whatever support that they need in the department. The issue of access to grants from commercial banks, Honorable PP, you ask us to say what is it that we are doing as the department for those who are mostly the small players that are getting in. I know a department of small business, it's going to talk more on that one. But even on our side, as trade and industry, working together with the Department of Small Business, as to say what are the enablers that are put in place for those who wants to get in and play a meaningful role in the growth of our economy. We're doing quite a lot of that. With that, when it comes to our DFIs, really, how open we are in making sure that we even correct. If we say DFIs, we always emphasize this very important word of developmental, as to say, we hold hands, we work with them in making sure that even if they did not meet the requirements, but what is it that we do to hold them by hands so that they can benefit and we can see them growing in the economy. So that's the thing that we are doing. Look at our rates compared to the commercial banks. We try by all means as to say we must be very much accessible in making sure that our people are assisted when it comes to that. And it will help in the formalization of the SMEs in the townships, as we are saying, Honorable BP. It's what we are really working and looking at. Honorable Dango, you even talked to the issue of the cooperatives. What are we doing after the master plans that we are saying we're having? So how do we make sure that we assist the cooperatives, those who are still getting into business? As I've mentioned even in my presentation, I've made mention of the clothing and textile, where we look at the TFG, how they're making sure that they help the small business. And what I can assure you, Honorable Dango, when these people are linked with big businesses, they're not removed from the rural areas or the township areas where they live in. And once we have those partnerships, the skills are transferred, because these big companies will go and train them where they are. If they want them to produce a certain type of a garment, there's a transfer of skills that they go there and train them, the type of materials to be used so that such a garment is produced. And those skills remain with our people in our rural areas. And we have seen that project working wonderfully. When it comes to, and the incentives that we are also giving from our side as the department, there are incentives for such small businesses that are getting in, and we are working very well with. Let me make an example again with the NEF sector, the initiatives that they have. Just one example where they are trying to the support on the development of township and rural economy. They are working very well with the Sun International, that is NEF, in making sure that the current initiative is the Enterprise Supplier Development Program on the hospitality and tourism sector, where this program, they focus more on Black-owned SMEs, as to say what is it that they are supplying when it comes to the tourism industry, including food and beverages, looking at the logistics on gaming, at casinos, marketing and accommodation, cleaning services. That is solely focused on Black-owned SMEs, even in the rural areas. We even have those enterprises where we're working with Sogosan to make sure that when it comes to the hospitality and tourism industry, we are there and NEF is leading. Again, on manufacturing, SAB, the accelerator on SAB, NEF is very strong in that, because when we look at the big companies, we are saying, what about the downstream companies that can feed to that to those companies? Again, we've got a very good initiative that we are having with SAB, where we are led by NEF, that we are assisting the small businesses to get into that. Let me make the last example again. Go to Mercedes-Benz in the Eastern Cape. The chairs, the leather, the cotton, those you look at the downstream companies that are feeding to those cars. And when you look, the better part of the car is locally manufactured. We get the parts from within our country that gets into those companies. So we are looking very well and we're very hard on our big companies as to say, how do we make sure that the downstream companies, go to Toyota in Devon, is the same thing. So those are just but few examples that we're having, but the whole issue of a value chain, because that is where exactly our small players are getting in making sure that those big companies do manufacture. But the most important word that you are emphasizing is localization, localization, and localization. So what are the components for you to produce that final product? What were the components? Where did you source the components? Because we cannot continue to celebrate as to say we are producing such products, but looking at all the components that are being imported. So really there is a huge change, a shift on that, and we are seeing a lot of companies playing a very meaningful role when it comes to the issue of making sure that with the small stream, the downstream companies, they form part of what we are producing within the country. Honorable Lord, I hope I'm pronouncing it well. I know small business is going to respond even that, but with us also as DTIC, when it comes to the issues of infrastructure, that is why we have been saying, go even to the industrial parks. It's where we know very well that with these small players that are getting into playing the meaningful role within the economic growth, the issue of infrastructure accommodation is very critical. It's expensive sometimes, it's hard, it's not easy to get. So that is why we are revitalizing so much when it comes to the industrial parks, so that we can accommodate them. As we have said, we can cluster them, we know they are there, they are working. But again, we're even looking at the government buildings that are there. We're approaching our entities like Italia. They've got a lot of buildings with all the development agencies that are there in various provinces, as to say, what is there that it's not even that much used by our communities, that is being owned by a government, to say, let us utilize that infrastructure in making sure that we house our companies that are township based, that are rural based, so that they do have this accommodation. But the issues of infrastructure, and on that with the industrial parks and so forth, we even look at the issue of park infrastructure, where we talk to the issues of water, electricity. We make sure when it comes to that preparation, then the level, the ground is leveled for our companies to come in and work on that. It's one thing that we are trying by all means to look at it, is to say, how do we make sure that we have the conducive spaces for our township companies and rural people to work in. Honorable Matlangu, yes, I know you wanted to know the beneficiaries, as to say, from the master plans, what have we done? What I can do and promise you, we can furnish you with that information. But as I'm saying, we've got quite a lot of them. And going to the industrial park, the Ekandastra Industrial Park, yes, as the department, we are working on that. We are revitalizing it. We are adhering to the call that was made. So you'll see a lot of improvement. But what I will do, I do have a chief director here, Mr. Klassen, that can even talk more and give a more clearer picture on the revitalization of the industrial parks that we're having, as to say, what are our programs and where do we want to take that program forward. But it's one program that we are working on very well. Honorable Mthethwa, I know, again, I might not get into details, but you said, let me make an example, just one development. How are we developing small business? What is it that you are working? And you mentioned the northern areas of KwaZulu-Natal. We are working very closely with the District Economic Agency, the Development Agency, Umhlosinga. If you can go to that area, around the areas of Umkuze, the township, the development, the town that is developing around there, where in the near future you'll find even the airport. And so we are working with all these associations. I thought your question links to the question is to say, how do we make sure that we feel, and I think it was asked by Honorable Unkondlo when he was saying, when we have these plans, projects, how do we engage the people from the local townships? We use, as we have said, and also small business have said, we are in connection and in contact with these business associations, the networks that are there. We really sit down, as we are saying, with the 4 townships that you are having. Let me make an example again. The ones that we said at Umlazi, where we sat down at Wamashu with the people in the township. They raise their needs, say, when it comes to the issues of logistics, the distribution, this is our need. And we are working with them so that we don't just sit in our offices and plan for the people without them inputting on what they really need in those areas. So the issue of that, those engagements and the plans, and working together with our counterparts in the provinces, with the municipalities, because we are saying there is nowhere where we can come as the national department and government and impose ourselves, but there is the province, there is the district, the municipalities are there. So that working relation, really, we are forging it ahead and we are working very well together. Same thing with the question is to say, with both departments, do we talk to each other? Quite a lot. Small business and DTIC, even in both presentations, you could feel that there is that synergy as when we are working, even when it comes to the issue of funding, where even DTIC, we have got other programs that we fund, we give to small business so that they can run with those in making sure that they uplift the economy of the country. So there's a very good relationship between these governments, and we are going all out there to the provinces and the municipality to make sure that we forge that good relationship moving ahead. Honorable Chair, really, if you can give Mr. Klassen just 2 minutes to speak on the issues of the revitalization of the industrial park, I would appreciate that, Honorable Chair.
Yes, thanks. We give over to Mr. Klassen.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Klassen.
Thank you very much, Deputy Chairperson and Deputy Minister Kina. I think on our part on the industrial parks, what we have done is we have taken the lessons from the failure and also appreciated the lessons from the successes that we have made in some of the elements where we've covered extensively to support the jobs that are at these industrial parks, noting that a majority of the companies that had invested there were starting to pull out of these parks because of the decay of the infrastructure, lack of proper governance, etc. What we have learned as well as we were implementing the revitalization program was that it doesn't work when it's unilateral. Expectation from national government to then give grant funding to the parks without the provinces and the municipalities also partaking in the co-funding and ensuring that certain elements, as highlighted by some of the honorable members with regards to ensuring the bylaws, ensuring that some of the water systems with regards to infrastructure are also adhered to and well maintained. What we have now adopted as a way forward, and we are busy workshopping the various communities with respect to or through the DDM model, is that we are now going to be co-funding the national department together as well with our counterparts of the other 2 spheres of government. We'll also make sure that there is proper governance systems that are in place so that we can then post-funding, but not only post-funding, but just have a pre-planned design of how we envisage these parks to be sustained going forward. The element of bringing private to these is very critical so that they can also now start to feel part of that community, of the ecosystem of the community. Would note that most of the infrastructure that we have actually is installed in these parks was vandalized to a certain extent by immediate communities. These issues then relate to how the communities themselves give and feel part of the growing economy, of growing that economy of those localization. So through that, then we are developing a shared value through the social facilitation programs that we are running. Hence, our model now will start to incorporate the 4 designs that we're talking about, where we are going to create a township manufacturing or enterprise precinct or hub within each of these industrial parks that we have identified. We have, of course, identified parks like Buchabelo, Isitebe to start with, Babeleji, working with National Treasury, working with CSIR, and various of our partners, the departments of small businesses, so that we can show that the ecosystem of sustaining the industries themselves and relating to the townships where these are based is actually realized. So this is the effort of how we envisage to roll out these infrastructure related bottlenecks that will also including how we attract investors into the zone, because they generally need the same things that the community wants. They want to see benefit accruing to their investments, but also to see that jobs are created and also value is derived from those communities. So that would be in a nutshell. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Thank you very much, Mr. Kassen. Chair, towards my conclusion, I know Honorable Lutuli even asked on how do we protect the consumers when it comes to the issue of prices, where it's incomparable of what our small players are costing and what is there in the market. Yes, we do take into consideration the issues of scales of economics, but we do have a consumer commission within the department where really our consumers, our people feel that there's too much when it comes to the issues of price gouging and so forth. We do have that such a protection, and we are always saying we are open to that. Call us or write to us so that if ever there are issues when it comes to that, we can come in and say through the Consumer Commission and say what is it, and we can look at that. And even on the Competition Commission, you have seen the wonderful work that they have done when it comes to that. So really our consumers are being protected very much so when it comes to that. Just reach out if ever there are areas where you feel you need to be assisted so that you can get that assistance. Lastly, Chair, when it comes to the issues of double dipping, yes, I'm not sure, but there is another member who said we must not keep on going back to the areas of COVID, areas of unrest and so forth. But during that time, worse on unrest, we learned very good lessons, and that is where we can say, as the department, as our sister department, together with our entities, FDIs and so forth, we even got to get more lessons of how to work even more smarter and quicker, and even to make sure that we prevent the issue of double dipping. How do we align the systems that are there? There are good lessons that we have learned, and we are working very well when it comes to that. It's not that easy really for a person to double dip right now. Once you are assisted by one government institution, so it's easy for you to be caught through the system, as to say, but we have received the assistance from IDC. Why are you coming to NEF? Why are you going to CEDA now? Why are you coming to DTIC? So we have aligned our systems as, yes, we are still improving, but now it's not that easy for people to double dip, and that helps us to go even a way further in assisting more people, because we have avoided that by aligning the systems. So let me stop there for now, Chairperson, and if ever there is a need, one will come back and respond. Thank you so much, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Minister, Honorable Minister of Small Business Development. We will give over to you and your team to respond to the issues that you feel that is still outstanding and that is direct, or others that is directed at yourself. Over to you, Honorable Ndabeni.
Thanks, Chair. Minister is not on the platform because of the connectivity challenges, but we took all the questions that were directed at her. I think Deputy Minister Kina has assisted in responding to most of the questions, but just to highlight a few, Chair. On the issue of informal businesses, there are two interventions that we have. One talks to individual informal businesses. I did touch on it, where we provide equipment to individual businesses. And then we have another intervention that talks to infrastructure. I think it responds to the question that was raised on what are we doing to support, especially by Honorable Mutsamai, on the people who are exposed to weather elements. We do have what we call the shared economic infrastructure facility, where we partner with the municipalities, because we are running away from the risk of us as a department going to a particular municipality, assisting with the establishment of infrastructure, but no one sits there and makes sure that the infrastructure is kept in good condition. So we partner with the municipalities. If municipalities don't have resources, they can bring in even the private sector, even the province, to partner with us so that we can share responsibility. Once we've provided the infrastructure, the municipality can continue and make sure that the people who are occupying this infrastructure, they do maintain it. There's also supply in terms of water, electricity into the particular infrastructure. So we do have a couple of projects that assist, especially the informal businesses, but we also do have a few in KZN. We have one, for example, that is in Bergville, that we are doing with Ukahlamba, a municipality. We also have one chairperson that we've just approved, that is going to be in Manguzi, under the municipality, the Umhlabialingana local municipality. And when we have one in Richards Bay, which is called Downstream Aluminium Center for Technology Project, which is more on the manufacturing side. So, but there are specific projects where we've partnered with the municipalities to make sure that we are able to assist the informal businesses, but also the formal ones with the infrastructure. So we do work closely with the DTIC in the delivery of these interventions. Even I did indicate when we launched the Small Enterprise Manufacturing Scheme, DTIC contributed 200 million to make sure that the scheme is up and running. And then we also brought our own resources. Even in the incubation space, we normally utilize a small enterprise development agency, but any other government department is allowed to partner with us through them. For example, Department of Tourism, they did ask CEDA to come in and assist them with setting up an incubator focusing on tourism in the Northern Cape. COGTA, we are in the same process where they are looking at also setting up an incubator, and they are utilizing. So we are saying, we share the skills in government. In fact, we do invite more government departments to support small business. We believe it's everybody's mandate to support small businesses, utilizing the resources that we have in government, utilizing the procurement that we have in government. So it's not an issue of competition, but it's more of cooperation and making sure that every government department play a role in the development of small businesses. On the issue of foreigners and other things, especially around the spaza shops, it is a difficult conversation, but we have worked with the Department of Home Affairs. In terms of the Immigration Act, the only people who are given the permit, it's called business permit, are people who are investing a minimum of 5 million in the country. So those are the people who do get business permits. And we've engaged with them because it's mostly the issue of enforcement rather than any other thing. So if you don't have that kind of investment, but you're operating a business, there's something wrong. But one of the issues that we've discovered is that even South Africans, they do rent out these spaza shops to foreigners. So someone will set up this infrastructure, build up a container or open up something in their own home, and then they rent it out to foreigners. That then it becomes, especially the illegal ones, because if you are legal, you are allowed to run a business. So that also requires the partnership and the support of the community itself, so that we don't really do wrong things. It's impossible for us as a country to reach each and every corner to enforce the law. And also the municipalities, they have this critical role of providing the permits. So they do provide permits, but they provide permits to people who are legal in the country. There was a question around this issue of access to these permits. It's true, Chair. Different municipalities, they really charge their own prices. You go to a municipality like Cape Town, they'll charge you 5,000 to obtain a permit. You go to Bushbuck Ridge, they'll charge you 500 Rand. So there is a big difference in terms of what municipalities charge when it comes to the permits and these business licenses. That's why we are reviewing this Businesses Act, because we want to introduce this uniformity across the country, that municipalities must not take the permits as an income generating activity. It should assist them just with the administration cost. So that's one of the interventions, Chair, that we are putting through the revision of the Businesses Act, to make sure that it's easier for people who've lost jobs, who want to start their own informal businesses, to start these businesses, because that's the only hope for us, given the high unemployment rate, to make sure that we encourage as many people to start businesses. There was a question around the automotive. What have we done to encourage the involvement, especially of people who are based in township and rural areas, to taking advantage of the after sales sector in particular? We do have a partnership, Chair, with ABSA, where as part of the Township and Rural Entrepreneurship Program, we support people who want to formalize this business, because the challenge is the insurance companies in particular. They go and assess the facilities before they can take, cars to the automotive repairers who are based in township. So they need to make sure that you have appropriate facilities, but you also have the appropriate equipment, and the area that you're operating in is secure. So we've come up with this intervention to make sure that we do support people who are involved in the scheme. It is something that we are looking at reviewing, because it was not very popular with the people who wanted to intervene or wanted to access the scheme, because of the requirements and also the involvement of ABSA and with their requirements. So as Minister was saying earlier, that we've reviewed the criteria to make sure that we make it easy for the people to access the schemes that we are offering as CAMP, because it doesn't help us to come up with all the schemes, but no one accesses them. There is, Chair, an MOU that we've just concluded with the Department of Basic Education, just to add to what Minister Kina said, on what can we do together. One, to encourage this entrepreneurship education at a primary level or basic education level, but also we are working closely with TVET colleges, because most of the people who go there, they do get technical skills, but they don't get soft skills. So we've set up these centers for entrepreneurship and rapid incubation in almost all the TVET colleges, so that these people who are getting technical training are able to access support in terms of business development support. What we are also coming up with now is what we call a startup package, so that when you get out of the TVET college, you are able to go and start your business. You do get the basic equipment that can assist you to run your business. And then there was a question around the waste recycling space in particular. We've concluded an MOU with the Department of Forestry, Fisheries and Environment for that particular purpose, basically, because they are supporting quite a number of waste recyclers, but there's no formalization that is taking place. They are not being assisted with any other thing. They just get basic equipment. In some instances, they get basic, especially during the lockdown period, they were getting some sort of a stipend because they were not operating. So we've entered into this partnership with them, saying they can come up with equipment from their side, and then from our side as a department, we can come up with business developments so that they run these waste recycling as serious businesses and make sure that they are able to grow them and operate in a safe way, because it doesn't assist them also if they get involved in these businesses and the safety issues are not observed. Chair, I hope I've covered most of the questions, because I think DM Gina did assist really in engaging with all of the questions. Lastly, Chair, it was the issue of red tape reduction. It's true, as DM was saying, there is a structure in government where we have, we call it inter-provincial red tape reduction task team and ease of doing business, where we have Department of Tourism, they sit there, DTIC, National Treasury, they are part of it, and then all the other provinces where we deal with all these issues that are affecting small businesses. There was that issue, Chair, of Department of Transport. They were struggling with processing permits in particular, and we did intervene. We worked closely with the Department of Transport. The presidency, the office there of that deals with red tape reduction was also involved. We are still continuing, with the engagements, but there is serious work that government is doing in a coordinated manner to make sure that we do address red tape. There is an initial study that we did this year, which showed us that 152 pieces of legislation affect small businesses directly or indirectly. And out of those, 29 are really hampering the growth of small businesses. Now we're in the process of doing this analysis so that we can take this to cabinet, so that cabinet can also direct, various government departments to change certain pieces of legislation so that it makes it easier for small businesses to be started and operated in this country. Chair, I hope I've done justice in responding to the questions that were posed. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, DG Nkumane. I think if the minister is not back yet, she have indicated that she have a cabinet committee. We will now continue with the program, and I will request the chairperson at this stage, you can decide whether we will be having a break or not. But I think since we are on virtual, it's not necessarily that we need to have a break. We can just maybe stretch our legs and so on. But then we will now hand over to the chairperson of the NCOP, Honorable Masondo, to preside over.
My question was not answered. Kenny Mutsamai.
Honorable Mutsamai.
Yes.
We are going to continue now with the provincial inputs. I think you can repeat the question there so that they can.
Deputy Chair.
Honorable Mutsamai.
Yes.
They have indicated that it can be that they haven't responded to all the questions. Can we go to the provincial session engagement? And if there is any other questions that we still feel that have not been responded, let us put it in writing and send it directly to the minister or the deputy minister so that we can get direct responses. But in terms of the time that we have now spent on this session, can we please be allowed to go to the next session where we will have the engagement with the provincial structures, the MECs, and then maybe take it up again on that platform. Please, I'm imploring you, I'm requesting that you allow us to proceed. Honorable Masondo, I'm handing over to you to lead the proceedings, but before that, the Chief Whip want to say something. Chief Whip?
Deputy Chair, we agree with you. In fact, I was raising whether is Honorable Chair back in the platform as alerted that he was not yet there. In that case, wouldn't we take 5 minutes or 10 minutes just to stretch and come back? No,
Yes,
just to stretch. 5 minutes maybe.
I agree with the issue of stretching. Can we then be back at quarter to 2 to continue with the program? I hope the chairperson will be back by then. If not, we will allow the Honorable Ngwenya to continue with the program. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Recording stopped. introduced when I was introducing the topic, talking about the inequalities that have been introduced by the erstwhile government of apartheid. There is a need, therefore, to reverse the legislative processes and regulatory instruments that have kept the townships as essential dormitories of cheap labor with no prospect of becoming economic hubs. So it's against this background that we in the Eastern Cape identified that the township and rural economy is one of the high impact projects that we should implement. And in the current financial year, Honorable House Chair, we developed a policy document that was submitted to the legislature, which policy document, or one would say it's a green paper, then that would be used for the basis for stakeholder consolidation. So they are able to consolidate inputs for drafting of a white paper. And that process, we're happy that we've already presented in the legislature, and that process of a consultation we've been indicated that it will happen in the following year. So that policy document will entail a consultative process with stakeholders and allow a public participation process through the drafting of the white paper and drafting of the bill. We will, as a province, benchmark with other provinces where this has been implemented or where it has already started. We are also, the coordination of stakeholders and resources plays an important role in order to make a meaningful impact on the lives of those who will be affected by the intended policy changes. In this regard, collaborations across all three spheres of government is critical. Partnership with the private sector and community stakeholders are equally important. So what are we doing currently? We're doing what I would term informal economy interventions in the townships. And one of them is setting aside, in the previous financial year, we set aside 40 million rand to support micro and informal businesses that were adversely affected by COVID. And that informal business support program was part of the Provincial Economic Recovery and Reconstruction Program. So it was aimed at delivering promoting the formalization of the informal businesses through incentives. I think the chairperson highlighted the challenges faced by them, and one of them is that these informal businesses suffer a lot. So that was one of its objectives, through incentives to leverage on government resources for the growth and development of small businesses. But we targeted 1,000 micro informal businesses that were operating we identified sectors: manufacturing, textile and clothing, services, and automotive aftermarket interventions. So we opened the call on the 10th of August, and we received more than 4,000 applications by the time we closed the window in the end of September. We also identified a component of training for those informal businesses in the township, where the department looked at employing 20 unemployed graduates who have qualifications in commerce and business to assist. We also have other funding instruments where we target these micro, small and medium enterprises, especially that of women and youth. One of them is the Local and Regional Economic Development Fund. We also use Imvaba Fund, where we support cooperative enterprises operating in all sectors. It's a grant fund that is kept at 600,000 rand per cooperative. So on this financial year 22-23, 25 million rand has been budgeted for that. We also have, through the Eastern Cape Development Corporation, have business loans that ECDC administers, and also has budgeted 30 million rand for the current financial year. They've already disbursed about 21 million rand to 36 MSMEs in construction and service delivery. We also partnered with the Umuza Hill local municipality. We leverage on their project to support 32 ward-based spazas or spaza shops owned by South Africans. So it was a collaborative effort with other stakeholders to change the retail landscape by supporting local retail outlets in rural areas and to provide all necessary services, including pension and grant payouts, electricity purchases, banking services, etc. So Umuza Hill provided support for stock, retail system activation, training, and capacity building. And we as a department committed 3.2 million rand for refurbishment of the retail outlets. And through infrastructure development, 19 local contractors were utilized where they created 158 jobs for that infrastructure. The nature of the job was the building, the tiling, the fitting, and all of that. And through another instrument, I don't know, I suspect that I can't hear you. You are muted, House Chair. You are muted, House Chair. You are muted. I suspect that you are speaking.
Through the silence one at last.
Made more sense in
MEC?
10 seconds.
Hello?
I was saying you are muted, Honorable House Chair. You were speaking, but you were speaking while you were muted.
All right. No, it's fine. Now my mic is open. Are you done?
No, can I continue?
Yes, Baba. Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, ma'am. We also had one instrument, the Economic Stimulus Fund, and for this, one of our projects have been funded, include infrastructure support for hawkers. And we started with Mount Elif in Mzimvubu local municipality, where we built 21 formal stands, 91 informal stands, and a lot of things, ablution facility, vehicle repair facility. So the approved budget for the project was 23.4 million rand, and 12.3 has been spent already, constituting 47%. So the total of the 180 will be bid by the end of the project. Support to industrial parks, I'm not going to talk to it because most of the industrial parks that we have are located very close to our township. So we are busy revitalizing all of the industrial parks so as to be able to cater, to ensure, because many of the informal businesses also operate and use the industrial park. If I could conclude by saying the lack of a legislation at a national level on a transformation of the township and rural economies is resulting into provinces taking the initiative on this front. But the potential risk is that it can emerge, is that it would be uncoordinated and disjointed pieces of legislation. The need for sharing information between and among provinces is very critical to ensure there is clarity on policy and strategies to support the enterprises operating in the townships and rural areas. The existing gaps on current legislation and policies necessitate a more collaborative engagement at national level to address the pieces of legislation that are no more relevant. Sorry. Thank you very much, Honorable House Chair.
Thanks very much, MEC Mvoko. Honorable members, I would like to call the second speaker, MEC Mohale, Free State.
Thank you very much, House Chair. Greetings to all members in the House. As a province of the Free State, we also like to thank this opportunity to come and share with NCOP the work that we were doing so far as the issues of township economy are concerned. Our presentation was sent through I will speak to it, but I think the Secretariat can share it as and when they can articulate to members. The first point, Chair, we need to appreciate that the time allocated was too little to can cover everything. So we try to deal with matters only on the high level to try and cover almost part of what we need to share. And first, we reflect that we recognize that in terms of statistics, about 17% of the SA employment population comes from the informal economy or the so-called township economy. And the Free State, like all other parts of South Africa, its township economy also comprises of the formal and informal economies. And the township economy is a lifeline for many families who are not employed in the formal economy and those that are unable to participate in the mainstream economy. And while informal businesses typically do not contribute directly to the fiscus through taxes, they do provide livelihoods, employment, and income for approximately 2.5 million workers, of course, excluding the agriculture. And we recognize that in terms of the stats, that the informal economy contributes to an estimated 6% of the country's GDP. We'll not go into detail as to defining what is a township, but we understand that retail dominates the informal township economy, particularly on the spaza shops, food outlets, bakeries, shebins, hawkers, etc., which includes taxi operators, mechanics, and all those that are not in the formal economy, and the salons, etc. When we come to the challenges that are facing the township economy or the enterprises, firstly, we note their character, that it is mainly unregulated and it is relatively less protected by some of the legislation because some of the employees there do not benefit from, among others, the issues of minimum wages. And we find some of those that are not even able to benefit from some of the tax concessions that may be there because they are not even registered. But we further note that the enterprises are also vulnerable to crime and all sorts of problems that they encounter. But as a province of the Free State, Chair, we summarize the challenges and the characters of the township economy into the four main categories. One, we call it A to C, which is the problem of access to capacity, where you find most of the small businesses do not have the technical know-how and that necessary skill to run the business as well as the dynamics of that particular sector. And the second one is what we term A to F, which is the problem relating to access to finance. It's very difficult for them to access the finance because of the informal nature, most of them, and most of where they need to go and approach for help, they are required certain formalities like the bankable or the bank statements, the audited finances, and so on. And that makes it very difficult for them. Among other issues is the issue of bookkeeping and so on. The third one is the access to markets, particularly on the mainstream. We know that, Chair, that the small businesses or the township businesses, life is not that easy for them because how the response of the mainstream businesses is such that it created monopolies so that the small businesses or the township businesses remain there, but it must be very difficult for them to penetrate the mainstream economic activities. For an example, there are those ladies who have been on the roadside for decades and decades, but it's very difficult for them to can open a restaurant today because the rent is expensive. They don't have the technical know-how on the contracting and so on. But the fourth one, we made self-introspection and accept that part of the problems is us as government. Not that we do not have the programs, but the lack of coordination of all of this intervention across all the spheres of government, where you find all these good programs are not well coordinated to make one impactful. You will find that each sphere is doing its own thing correctly so. And part of those lack of coordination, one can make an example of the legislation, where you find the National Treasury promulgate certain legislation through PFMA, for an example, on supply chain. which seeks to empower the small businesses, but they're not in touch with the realities that are on the ground because they are not interacting or they do not get sufficient voice of those players that are there in the particular space. And at the end of the day, you find that those interventions are actually very far-fetched or are not really practical to what is on the ground, and they end up being more problematic as opposed to be assisting. Once saying, Chair, as part of the Free State research, we have also undertaken some of researches piloting in Mangau. I wouldn't want to bother the committee or the House with all of those, but I want to zoom directly, Chair, for the sake of time, on what is it that we are doing after characterizing all of this situation. We have our approach as the Free State, our provincial economic development strategy, which we call Value Chain Transformation Program. Now, at the center of this strategy is the program to grow and transform economic sectors in which township businesses are found. And the aim is to grow and ensure that all the township businesses are part of commodity value chains, especially in the mainstream economic activities. Now, with this objective, we're saying township businesses should not just operate as retailers to sell the products which they have not participated on, but our belief is that we need to transform the value chain of the township businesses. To make an example on the retail, we would want to see township businesses taking active role in the production of all of those commodities. We are doing all of this under the theme that we must consume whatever that we consume as a province should have been produced locally. But secondly, we are saying for the township business or economy to thrive, it needs to be protected against unfair competition and illicit trading. Our realization is that the reason some of the many township businesses have collapsed is because they could not be protected and they were taken out of business by those that are selling illicit goods, which are by far cheaper, and they've taken them out of business as a result. Now, we said part of our approach, we need to have two major approaches. One being to use the legislative power to address all of these issues that we have raised. And to that end, we have introduced Free State Integrated Local Economic Development and Transformation Bill, what is called as the Free State Township Economy Bill, which in the main, it will deal with the issues around the access to markets, where we will enforce big businesses to open opportunities to those small township businesses, particularly when they really want to do or have any relations with government, not only in terms of procurement, but in terms of other authorizations that they may need from government. Those big businesses has to demonstrate that they are indeed a part of this vision by creating opportunities. But we also say we need to leverage on the state procurement for enterprise development to address those monopolies that are there that makes it very difficult for businesses to access the markets. We are saying at least we do have a control as government out of our expenditure. The 7 billion budget on goods and services by the Free State government has been earmarked annually to say that if it can be used, at least we know we can keep 7 billion rand in the province and in the production of commodities. And that will, as a result, stimulate demand for local commodities. And as a result, there will be more demand for production and there will be more jobs that are created. And the bill further goes to say it needs to protect the township businesses where we are creating the quotas for certain sectors to be ring-fenced for locals, in this instance, the Free Staters. But we further go to an extent of regulating through this bill the organized businesses, where we really need to ensure that we have one single dignified voice of the business so that the business voice is not hijacked by other ulterior motives, where when people are not happy with the tenders, they wake up, they call themselves a business forum, they go and disrupt. 2 months later, they are not there after they have bought the tender. So as a result, it makes the planning of government and working together with the private sector quite difficult because there's no consistency in terms of who the government is dealing with. But the second aspect beyond the legislative program is the support that we give to the business. I'll talk to it shortly. I've already spoken about the bill, which in the main targets certain business in the township, the salons, car washes. There's a range of up to 30 businesses, but which are mainly found in the township, where we say this should be reserved for the locals, or at least alternatively, certain quotas be made in favor of the locals, as opposed to the current scenario that is happening. The bill of the Free State does not seek to contest the Businesses Act, but it's out of realization that at the time when we came up with this bill a year or so, the Businesses Act in the current format, that was before we got the brief that the department is busy now amending it. But we thought that we could provide some norms and standards which will be in support of the legislative processes. For an example, the provision that requires all those that operate businesses to have operating license for municipalities. What our bill was just saying was just to give us the authority to provide norms and standards so that we can guide and give to the municipalities through or working together with COPTA for municipalities to follow. Because one of the issues currently is not necessarily that there is no framework that is in place, but the biggest problem that we're encountering is that there is no enforcement and there are no systems as to how do you go about. In most of the municipalities, people go and say they want businesses license. They tell them that they have no clue of where to start or how to issue it. So we're saying we will be complementary to that role of assisting municipality to have the norms and standards and package certain policies and guidelines for them. Now, the second aspect that I would like to talk to is around the issue of capacity. We do have, in the main, two broad support services that we give to township businesses. One is business development support to address the issue that I spoke about first, in which we are supporting the businesses by paying the basic services such as the accounting services, the marketing, and all those basic administrative services that are required to run a business. So we are paying these services for them. Currently, since last year, we are now having more than 314 businesses that have been enrolled into the program, so as to do the basics so that a person can know the discipline of bookkeeping and so on. But the second aspect which we have just introduced this year is what we call technical support service, because each sector is quite difficult and dynamic and different from the others. So we have procured the services of sector specialists for them to come and render this necessary advice to the businesses. Many of our people, if one may make an example, they have went into the oil and gas sector through the filling stations. They do not know how difficult it is, the compliance issues and so on. After a year or so, a person can't service the loan because the person thought it's quite easy, you can just put the tanks there and send fuel, but it's not aware about all the other hidden costs and all other dynamics and all the politics that are involved in there. So the sector specialist is to move with them from day one up until the business can thrive. That's what is under the technical support. But the third one, which we've just introduced to us, is that in 2020, we have launched a program to place the graduates into the businesses, particularly those that have studied commercial subjects and the relevant fields of study like engineering, depending on the business which we place them on. We started with the 60 in 2020 and then over a period of 24 months, where we take those that are unemployed, they work in the businesses, as opposed to the current practice where ordinarily we just take internship, they sit in the offices with us. We take them to be there on the cold face, practice that which they have done at the level of the university. Those that have done BCom accounting are now having an opportunity to do the books, bookkeeping, financials, trial balances, and so on for the respective businesses, but under the supervision of the experts, which we have also have them on our panel. So the youngsters are able to get the necessary assistance. At the same time, even the businesses benefit from those skills. But the program in the main is targeted at 1,000 graduates by 2024. We're quite grateful that the private sector, one of the banks, was able to also help us to pay the stipends for that first 60. And we have seen that many private sector players are coming on board to pay the stipends for these youngsters so that it can take off the burden from the provincial fiscal so that we can have more. And on the access to markets, Chair, for the enterprise, for the township enterprises, what we have done, we're facilitating township value chains network in which we're bringing the township businesses together, link them with the major producers, but who are in the main, those from the township. There are some of the businesses who are starting to produce. For an example, in the Free State, we have our own maize mill, which we are producing by a black farmer. So we're linking all of those small businesses so that they don't buy from these commonly known retailers, but they can buy from one of their own, which is black owned from the township. The transport we require, whoever that will be transporting there, should be a fellow a business person from the township. And those that we assist, we require them to use the professional services if they're outside our program. Those are the other ones from the township. So we're saying if you are operating a supermarket in the township, you must buy from a black producer who's producing the maize meal. The lawyer for your contracts, it must be someone who's operating from the township. The accountant must be that as well. So and so on with the other assets. So that's a part of the value chain network that we're assisting, and we have started with the retail. We're still building up to that particular network. And on the second aspect of access to markets, we're exposing our township businesses to the national and international platforms, which ordinarily they would not be able to access because of finances. This year only, we have taken them to the Big Five, South African International Trade Exhibition, which was now in June, where we've taken 12 enterprises. The manufacturing in Daba, still in June, they were taken there. The Decorex in August, Organic and Natural Expo Africa. But the other delegation is also going to go to Cuba next week to go and demonstrate their businesses. The other one that we're also working closely with the malls is the pop-up store, where we arrange with the malls that on the particular busy weekends, they allow a particular space for businesses to come and display their goods because of the feed and the purchasing power that the malls are able to attract. We have just now concluded processes that will not be only on certain weekends, given the feedback and the outcry from SMMEs that please arrange it for a longer period of time. So we're putting it on our budget that from next year that we will have in most of these key malls where there are a number of buyers accessing them, buy a particular space where small businesses can be able to access, and then the department pays it for them as one of those support services that they do. And the last one under product development is that we're supporting small developers or innovators, those that come with the new products, because it's very difficult to put a new product on the shelf of the well-known names. There are issues of accreditation, the quality, the packaging, and so on. So we have had good relations with SABS, where we also pay on behalf of all of these SMMEs. One of those products that one can make reference to is the plastic bricks that was innovated from the Free State. The ladies are now having the larger markets in Gauteng. We're the ones that have went through them through the product development. The bricks are now accredited, made out of plastic and all of those commodities. But some of the key programs, if one can run quickly, is that we have targeted conventional textile industries, where we want to revive all of those factories in Malutiapo, and Mangaung, Botshabelo, Tabanchu, Harrismith, and Kwakwa, where we're putting together all of those cooperatives. But the key part about it is that we are now working with the big chain stores and those experts that knows the textile. We have also engaged with Lesotho to be part of the value chain that we are doing, because there's also a need for the factories of Lesotho to work with us for other reasons as part of some of the international agreements. They're unable to meet those demands. So we've been invited to form part of that code, and that's an opportunity that we have identified for our people so that they can get better prices when they sell to the market. And the second one around this is the fashion industry program, where we're targeting 100 designers each. We will launch it early next year, or where possible before the end of this year, where we want to produce 100 fashion designers from the small town, because they do have that capacity. The only issue there is that it is one market which is very lucrative, but it's very difficult because of the costs that are involved. So as a province, those that are able to be part, we should be able to help them so that they can also make it like all the other big names. 2 weeks ago, we had a meeting with some of the big players in the automotive sector, where we have started a process of trying not only develop the guys of the panel beaters to work on the roadside, but we want to see them be part of the mainstream, to form part of those panels of insurances, because that's where there is a guaranteed market. So we don't want our township economies to always be characterized by the markets which are less lucrative, whereas their counterparts can benefit from all of these opportunities. And the last one is our support to manufacturers as part of our industrialization process of producing local, while giving manufacturing incentives by giving them the free spaces in the FDC factory for a particular period of time. But we also support those that are in manufacturing, because we said we want to target the government expenditure. And the infrastructure budget of about 4 billion of the Free State provincial government per year, we said we want now to develop the producers. One of the examples that we can cite is that he's an emerging black industrialist, where we have helped him to buy a factory that produces all of this cement work that is needed in the major infrastructure project, so as to respond positively to the economic reconstruction and recovery plan, which says government must lead in investment in infrastructure investment. So we're beginning to position our people to take advantage of all of those opportunities. And lastly, Chair, to quickly summarize, is a program of the Stockfells. We see the Stockfells differently as a province of the Free State, because we believe that the essential part of the economy, the finance sector in itself, is a lifeblood of every economy. And the financial sector, as a matter of fact, they survive largely due to the contributions that the very same people in the townships are making. So we have a program under the Stockfells that say, make your money work for you, which is an initiative to support Stockfells. But our belief in the Stockfells is not just the current practice where the Stockfells have been turned into the bulk buyers. They buy a lot of goods at the end of the year, they share, they consume, and then there is nothing. We are now transforming the Stockfells to be the financial players to finance the very same small businesses. We have engaged the Financial Services Conduct Authority on the accreditation.
Chairperson, can I just, House Chairperson?
In which
Honorable Ngwenya.
Yes, Honorable Member.
Can I just check, is there a time limit given to each of the MECs? Because we still have a lot to go through today and have a period for question and answers as well. And I know your time is always working, but I suspect if you have a look at your time, the time limit is over already.
Honorable Member, my time here on the program, it doesn't correspond with the time that we have started, but don't worry about that, because I've got 4 provinces that are not going to do their presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, House Chair. I was saying the province is now working with the Financial Services Conduct Authority for a process in which the Stockfells can now be accredited to offer financial products. We no more want the providers of the financial products, such as the insurance, lending, and so on, to still be characterized by all of the normal mainstream providers. We are saying it's time that our people also play a role there. We have spent about 1 million rand to date since 2020 in supporting some of those that were organized so that they can get accreditation. One of them is selling various insurance products. From next year, we have also set aside money to get the asset managers so that they can deal with the issues of the investments for them, so that we get the credible asset managers, those that are accredited, to can also work on the JSE and all the other stock exchanges for the safety of the money of the Stockfells. We want, when we say we are creating our own economy, we should be totally independent as a township businesses from production of the commodities as well as financing of our activities. And lastly, Chair, let me just reflect that all of these programs that we are doing, there is a special focus on the township and rural enterprises, because we do not want small businesses to move from their respective areas and come to the large cities like Bloemfontein, Welkom, and so on. We want them to stay wherever they are and be able to revive their own economies. So we have had a program that we have launched this year where we're identifying the less known towns. For example, we went to small towns like Philippolis, Rosendal, Miemel, even the deep rural areas in Malutapo, Makining, and so on. We're still going to others where we go and doing exactly that which I've provided. We go to an area, check who are the unemployed graduates. Those graduates of that area, they will be placed there and so on. Where are the businesses? We identify them, we assist them, they give all these opportunities that we're giving opportunities to the larger towns. And in conclusion, Chair, we were very grateful to the Minister or the Ministry of Small Businesses, together with the DTI and all the other partners, for having the state-of-the-art digital hub, which is very handy for small businesses, which was launched in April here in Botshabelo. It was one of those good initiatives that demonstrates that if all spheres of government work together, there can be something impactful that is done. We're also working with the DFIs now to create a growth fund for Free State where we'll match the funding so that we can address all these issues of funding for small businesses, which is a challenge. But one of the issues that we have started to do is now working practically with municipalities at the ward level to start profiling the businesses to address the issue of credible database, which we ordinarily do not have across all the spheres. So we want to have one database of all businesses. Okay. As I conclude, Chair, I must also indicate that CEDA and CIFA are one of those partners that make all of this work that is success because we work together. But the Free State Province is really geared up, Chair, to ensure that township economy is no more a slogan, but it's a catalyst to change the lives of the Free Staters. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Honorable Mohale. Honorable members, I would like to call Honorable Monama from Limpopo. Honorable Monama.
No, thanks very much for affording me this opportunity. My colleagues on the platform, I'll not be detailed. I'll try to summarize what is obtainable in our province of Limpopo. So what I wanted to articulate is that our province, in line with the Township and Rural Economy Program, LASTREPS, approved the Limpopo Township and Rural Economic Strategy to empower companies from both township and rural areas. So the strategy is anchored on 5 key focus areas, and that's your productive infrastructure. So in this case, we're working closely with our partners, strategic partners, and then we are also working with other infrastructure support groups for the development of the street level enterprise nodes for micro enterprise, industrial parks, business parks, and incubation hubs, consumer owned and controlled retail and wholesale stores, making land available around the township and rural space to enable the township and rural enterprise to operate, and rolling out of broadband infrastructure, which is essential to support township and rural economy, but over and about to reduce the cost of connectivity to internet and communication. Today, the department in partnership is busy with the refurbishment of Seshego and Nkwankoa industrial parks. And one factory in both Seshego and Nkwankoa industrial park will be repurposed for digital hubs, which aims to eliminate the digital divide. And in terms of the key focus area 2 for promotion of entrepreneurship development, we are committed in expanding access to finance for township and rural enterprises and ensuring greater movement towards self-financing by township and rural enterprises. So we're busy prioritizing a significant recapitalization of the Limpopo Economic Development Agency, a government enterprise support agency. We focus on the township and rural economy. So as the province will help facilitate the development of cooperative banking and cooperative insurance that is owned by the township and rural households and enterprises and others. And we're working closely with training providers, mentors, whether public sector or private, to ensure that the level and the quality of support of township and rural economic enterprises in the province, and in some sectors is made available to township and rural-based enterprises. In terms of the key focus area 3, which is innovation and product development, we're working closely with the national bodies like South African Bureau of Standards, Agricultural Research Council, Medical Research Council, and others. And government will ensure that indigenous products such as food, medicine, and other products, the standardization of the indigenous products on the names, cultivation, processing, and packaging will unlock the value chain with substantial benefits for our communities in the township and rural areas, in which these activities are clustered. So the department has also partnered with the University of Limpopo in terms of agro testing station to ensure that our SMMEs comply with these standards. We are also busy with manufacturing support program. So in this case, through the Limpopo tooling initiatives situated in Kwangoa Industrial Park, the center is well equipped with state-of-the-art machinery to develop tool skills aimed at broadening and strengthening the manufacturing sector. The tooling sector is an important subset of manufacturing, as without tooling, there is no manufacturing. The following progress have been achieved since 2020-2021 financial year. Number of artisans enrolled in 2020-21 was 6, and were able in number of apprenticeship that are at the trade tested past is 6. And 2021 and 2022 financial year, we have a number of 6 enrolled and 4, but unfortunately 2 dropped out. And in 2022-2023 financial year, which is the current financial year, we have enrolled 10 artists, and out of that, already 2 have passed, and we're busy with that. In terms of key focus area, focus on market access, we are saying that there is a significant potential for mobilization of the state buying power to procure goods and services produced and delivered by township and rural enterprise to change the economic structure of the provincial economy. So in terms of the things that we are doing, we've partnered with the National Department of Small Business Development, Trade, Industry, and Competition to support our township and rural entrepreneurs to participate at exhibitions such as Ren Easter Show, Africa Big 7, the Corex, SADC, and Mozambique. So in terms of the last key focus area, in establishing social and economic value of township and rural economy. So we are saying that currently not widely understood as the concept. And we are playing a part to ensure that we have a clearly defined concept that will be understood by our own end users. And by so doing, we are saying that we are going to have a better support for the township and rural economy that will come at all levels in terms of the financial economy and support organization. And we are busy providing working tools of trade as part of the informal and micro enterprises development program. And we're doing well in terms of collaboration with ABSA, Coca-Cola, South African breweries. And we also have LED capacity building programs that I think we are working closely with SALGA, because it affects the municipality, that at the end of the completion of that program, they will be certificated. And we're also dealing with the productivity management program that I think after the COVID-19 posed that we're busy assisting this business sector to ensure that they leverage on all these opportunities that are available. Up to so far, we're able to train about 30 entrepreneurs on competitive improvement solutions, and 7 companies with 2 to 1 employees enrolled in the continuous improvement program, and 2 companies are on the aftercare program, and 2 business on turnaround program. The final program that I think we're dealing with is the waste economy. We're busy co-funding a program named Industrial Symbiosis Program, which is called Limpopo ISP, with National Cleaner Production, an implementing agency of the DSTI hosted by CSIR. The program was launched in 2019 in the province, and we're busy assisting our SMMEs, and so far we're able to assist about 10 local SMMCs through this program. And given that the program does not provide financial support, this SMME still require intervention, especially funding, in order to grow and become sustainable. I think in a nutshell, that's our presentation as Limpopo Province. Thanks very much for the opportunity.
Thanks very much, Honorable Member. The next presentation is going to be done by Honorable BT Shongwe, acting on behalf of Honorable Sope. BT Shongwe. Honorable Shongwe.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and greetings to the members of the NCOP as well as the MECs from other provinces. We're here as Mpumalanga to make our presentation. First of all, our mandate as a province is to stimulate the economic growth towards creating sustainable and decent employment and alleviation of poverty. There are priorities where we're focusing in terms of the intervention to drive our mandate. First, it is the influence of development growth patterns through building and accelerating inclusive growth. The other one is position infrastructure delivery project, enhance integrated regional growth, engage both local and global strategic partners to consolidate existing markets. And the last one will be to create a conducive regulatory environment. From there, we'll move to the areas of collaboration with the Department of Small Business and Development. There's a need to upscale the mineral beneficiation and agro-processing and intensifying inclusive growth in the tourism sector. The department can work very closely with the province to ensure that small MMCs, small MMCs and cooperatives meaningfully participate in those sectors. We need also to accelerate growth and development of rural and township economies, and also to support women and youth-owned small businesses, and also to upscale cooperatives operating in the informal sectors. The collaboration in providing relevant skills development and training to assist enterprises to increase export awareness. we proceed to the support that is given to women and youth-owned small businesses and cooperatives operating in the informal sector need to be upskilled. The collaboration in providing relevant skills development and training to assist enterprises needs to increase, coordinate and facilitate the rollout of the Mpumalanga Economic Recovery and Reconstruction Plan. There's a need also to coordinate the Department of DET, the Department of Small Business Development and local municipalities on the regulation of the rate tab, which needs to be reduced so that small business enterprises can have access, and also to strengthen the working relationship within the agencies, and also to coordinate with the district in terms of the implementation model. However, we have programs that the department is involved in the implementation of the current financial year. We have a TIE initiative program where the department is supporting small businesses in the townships and rural areas. We have formalized relationships with Sumitomo Rubber South Africa, which is known as Dunlop. Currently, we are supporting 10 existing outlets located in all the district, 4 in Ehlanzeni district, 3 in both Nkangala and Khatisbane. We also have identified 10 new outlets that we are going to support. Donkerhoek water bottling plant, where the department is supporting cooperatives to be involved in the provision of water. The incubation program focusing on steel in Steve Tshwete in Middleburg and the Furniture Technology Center in the city of Mbombela in White River, specifically to capacitate small businesses in the township to access the requisite skills. There is a partnership with the South African breweries in supporting the youth to start their business through the Kickstart program with specific focus to the township and rural areas. There we have 35 youth entrepreneurs where they have been trained, and 5 of them were awarded with prizes that included laptops in Khatisbane region. We also support the retail business in the township, such as Dala Member Enterprise Program, where the retail supermarkets are partnering with small business in the township to assist them to venture into the market, which has been dominated by foreign nationals. MEGA is raising funds to operationalize such programs. We continue, the department is working with the South African Bureau of Standards to assist small businesses, and also assisted 10 SMEs, including cooperatives, with SABS accreditation. The department has also assisted 30 salons and 30 car washers with training and equipments in the 3 regions, that is Khatisbane, Ehlanzeni, and Kangala. The department is working with Dala to support the small-scale waste pickers in order to formalize them and to provide training and equipment so that they can look at waste as a business. In that area, there are 12 waste pickers that have been assisted with equipment and PPEs in the 3 districts. The department has partnered with municipalities to ensure that the regulatory environment in the township and rural areas is conducive, meaning that there's a need to reduce the red tapes. The department has developed a red tape reduction strategy to support municipalities in this area. However, we are facing constraints and that impact on the performance. There is inadequate budget to coordinate the implementation of the projects, poor coordination with the National Department on issues of enterprise development. But in this regard, we think that the DDM will assist. So we're in a process of coordinating that. The lack of alignment on strategies and APPs between provincial and national departments is also a problem. Another challenge is the lack of funding for informal traders. That is the end of our presentation as informal. Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson?
Yeah, yes, honorable member.
Thank
Thanks
you.
very much. Thanks very much, honorable member. Siyakuba. Honorable members, I would like now to call Honorable Mabale, Councillor Mabale from Salga.
Yeah, thank you very much, honorable member. I hope that I'm audible enough.
I don't see you. The frame, I know that you were relaxing because you were thinking Ugutuksazongena province for.
Sorry, Honorable House Chairperson, on a point of order, was the speakers list changed because Honorable Wenger made sure that she is online and following the proceedings and have to get to other work as well. So, I mean, I see that it's now been changed from what was communicated originally. Was that communicated on any other platform?
Thanks, honorable member. I'm waiting for the table to tell me that is it this speaker spec, because as I said before, that there are 4 provinces that are not on the platform. So now I'll wait them to indicate for me. For now, I'm calling only people that are on the platform.
Yeah, but Honorable Wenger is on the platform, Chairperson. I don't know if you can see on the right-hand side, you'll see the participants. I can explain how you can get to that list to see the participants if you need that.
Okay, honorable member, thank you for assisting me on that. But can we allow the Salga to speak? Because I have called her already, because that member was not on the platform the time I want them. Before I start everything, I check everybody that is in the platform. Deputy Chair?
No, I was just calling Honorable Lon to order by saying, I don't know what he implied when he said he can show you how it worked. It was uncalled for. But I also see that MEC Wenger is now on the platform, so he or she can then come after the Mabale Himan. You can continue. I was just trying to call order because it's really not nice to be like that.
Thanks very much, Deputy Chair. I don't want to entertain that because I know that they always do like that when I'm presiding. So I'm used to it, and I did tell myself that I'll be patient for each and everyone. Let them do what they want to do. I'm presiding, I've got a list on me. I know what I'm doing. So I'll ask Honorable Mabale to come through.
Honorable Wenger is indicating on the platform, on the chat platform, that they are prepared to go after the Salga representative. So we can continue. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Deputy Speaker. Can we do like that? Honorable Mabale, can you please come in the platform?
Yeah, thank you very much. You said I must switch on my video. It's on from my side. I wonder if you can see me from your side there.
I don't see you.
I'm not sure what the problem could be, but from my side, my video is on. Can I continue? You are muted, Honorable Chair. I can't hear you.
Honorable member, can you please continue? Although on my side, I don't see you, but I can hear you.
Okay. My apology about that. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson, now Chairperson Honorable Ngwenya, Chairperson of the NCOP, Honorable Masondo, Deputy Ministers, MECs, Deputy Chairperson of the NCOP, Honorable Lucas, Chief Whip of the NCOP, Honorable Mohai, House Chairpersons, Honorable Members of the NCOP, Special Delegates, I greet you all. As the single voice of local government, SALGA expresses its sincere appreciation to the NCOP for organizing this important sitting at a time when the economy is going through unprecedented turbulence and cost of living crisis. As a sphere of government, we are actually aware that we are the face of local government or government, and as such, the perception and sentiments communities have of government as a whole is largely shaped by local government. Honorable Chair, the township economy remains key to South Africa's economic growth prospects. Our townships are vibrant spaces full of economic vitality, endowed with immeasurable potential and spirit of entrepreneurship. As government, we are therefore duty-bound to play our part in harnessing and strengthening the township business ecosystem through, in part, improving access to support services and finance, enhancing skills and capabilities, and accelerating digitization as to enable our township enterprises to adapt to the new normal. We should work towards a complete reorientation of the township economy, where townships are elevated into economic hubs for manufacturing and production, and not consumption sites that they currently are. There are a number of apex areas that we believe could be game changers in transforming the township economy, and they are as follows. The first one is addressing market concentration. The South African economy is heavily concentrated, with a few monopolies controlling a large share of the market. Case in point is an inquiry by the Competition Commission published in 2019, found that big retailers used their market power to negotiate for exclusivity in shopping malls. This practice is pervasive in other sectors too. We therefore need to put more concerted effort in decentralization of the very same issue that we are talking about, the economy to the benefit of previously marginalized areas such as townships. The second one is using public procurement as leverage. Honorable Chair, there's a need for a more conscious and concerted effort to use procurement as a lever to recalibrate the local economy through targeted and preferential procurement that favors SMMEs. Municipalities can and should redirect their enormous spending power to disproportionately focus on injecting life into the small township businesses operating within their respective jurisdiction. The current procurement regime favors more established businesses. There is a need for a more conscious effort to use procurement as a lever to reconstruct the township economy through targeted and preferential procurement. The aim is the creation of a decentralized new economy of smaller, locally embedded job-creating enterprises. Local government wants to be at the forefront of this endeavor, which is why in March 2021, we convened a local government symposium on employing local procurement as the lever to ignite the local economy. The symposium placed the spotlight firmly on using local government procurement spend as a transformative instrument to meaningfully transform the local economy. We have come to a recognition that the spending power of municipalities is a leverage that, if properly channeled, it can have a material impact on uplifting the previously marginalized groups and in the process widen the net with respect to economic participation. As the sector, we believe our procurement spend can serve as a stimulus to support local value chains and in the process lay a foundation township's economy development. The next one, which is maximum circulation of each rand within the townships. Honorable Chairperson, we also don't want our townships to be consumption sites where shopping malls are the mainstay developments. Instead, we want to see more employment generating economic activity, more transactions, and less leakages. We also want to see income earned in townships multiply as many times before it is expatriated elsewhere, which is currently not the case. The longer each rand is kept circulating within the local economy, the more it multiplies in terms of economic activities. Key to creating value in the local economy is self-sufficiency. That is where the economy can achieve multiple transactions, a strong foundation for enterprise growth and job creation. The fourth one is achieving localization through leveraging large-scale infrastructure projects. For large-scale infrastructure projects, we are proposing meticulous value engineering during the design phase, where engineers look at how they can structure projects in such a way that it creates a maximum opportunities for local SMMEs. This will ensure that localization is not an afterthought, but a carefully designed intervention from the outset. The fifth one, which is the rationalization of township support programs. Within the IGR landscape, there's a myriad of programs dedicated to transforming the township economy. However, they remain disjointed. As local government, we would like to implore the various actors in this space to harmonize and integrate their support initiatives as to yield greater impact. These initiatives include the Township Economy Development Program, the Industrial Parks Revitalization Program, as well as the Township and Rural Enterprise Program. For this program to live up to the potential, achieve the desired impact, intergovernmental cooperation and collaboration is of paramount importance. The sixth one being drawing lessons from the Gauteng Township Economic Development Bill. The Gauteng Township Economic Development Bill is a game changer, and SALGA encourages municipality to draw lessons on the transformative intent of the bill. It seeks to take deliberate steps that will allow townships to become fully fledged commercial zones. SALGA has been instrumental in the development process of the bill. Honorable Chairperson, last year, July, unrest in Gauteng and KZN once more brought into sharp focus the deeply embedded socio-economic fault lines that confront our townships. The fact that the township's residents have no share in some of the biggest township investment, such as your malls, means they feel no sentimental connection or sense of ownership. Our rebuilding project should therefore be robust and proportional to the problem at hand, and place more emphasis on creating a township economy that is in the hands of township communities. We therefore recommend that municipal level policies be enhanced to encourage cooperation and protection of the township economy from large commercial developments that sometimes displace smaller township enterprise. Exceptions should be made for developments that can prove locally embedded value chains that are linked to the township ecosystem. Honorable Chairperson, these recommendations are a small piece of a much bigger puzzle. In order to meaningfully transform the township economy, we need a whole of government approach where all spheres of government work together in harmony in executing their respective mandates. As it is, resources are severely constrained, so we can ill afford to work in silos. as the guardian of local government, we will play our part in coordinating the rebuilding efforts and providing thought leadership as we look to usher in a new era for the township economy. I thank you, Chairperson. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thanks very much, honorable member. Honorable members, I would like to continue the Akuba. I would like to call MEC Vega from Western Cape. Vega from Western Cape, Honorable Vega.
Right. Good afternoon, House Chairperson. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are honorable.
Wonderful. Good afternoon, House Chair and honorable members. It's once again a pleasure to join you this afternoon to report back on the Western Cape's current and future plans to ensure that the township economy can realize its full potential. Now, creating an enabling environment for the private sector to grow and create jobs is one of our single biggest priorities. And this is especially applicable to both the informal economy and the township economy. The reality is that South Africa faces significant challenges, including high unemployment, load shedding, elevated public debt service costs, along with rising inflation and interest rates. This is worsened by high levels of corruption and the consequences of years of state capture. In the Western Cape, we have not been insulated from these challenges, and our economic growth rates have largely mirrored the national trends, although performing better. While there are some promising signs emerging, it's clear to me that we need to do more to match the increasing demand in the Western Cape, and we are determined to do so. And to do this, we need to enable the private sector to grow and succeed so that they can get on with their job of creating jobs. Next slide. As part of the private sector, SMMEs, including informal and township businesses, will be critical to achieving this objective. Recently published statistics estimate that there are around 30 to 40 businesses per 1,000 people in townships. An article from Business Tech quotes FNB as saying that this translates into around 800,000 to 1 million township businesses across South Africa. And another financial institution, Investec, estimated that approximately 17% of employment in our country is through the township economy. In the Western Cape, we know that 90% of township enterprises are one-person businesses, and 60% of these businesses are run from residential homes. The Department of Coffee and Estratweni Mobile Foods here in the Western Cape are some fantastic examples of the more famous township businesses which are helping to grow the local economy. And I see it as my mission to make these examples the norm and not the exception. Another reason why these businesses are important is that they provide products and services tailored for the needs of the local communities they serve. And in addition, township businesses offer and provide immediate accessibility. Yeah. However, township businesses face various challenges which compromise their growth, ability to grow, and therefore to create much needed jobs. Some of these challenges include a lack of access to basic service delivery, a lack of infrastructure, crime, of course, and then the need for skills training and enterprise development training, and challenges with regulatory reform. It's for this reason that the Department of Economic Development and Tourism supports small businesses, including small businesses and townships across the province. I'll now speak about some of the specific programs we have in place. The Red Tape Reduction Unit works with businesses across all sectors and across our government, as well as with other levels of government to remove barriers that emerge. This unit has been able to maintain a successful case resolution rate of 93% for the last financial year, and we look forward to improving on this further in the year ahead. The unit continues to support efforts to bring services and information closer to businesses and township communities. They have done this by translating all informational material into the 3 official languages of the province, being English, isiXhosa, and Afrikaans, and the information is freely available at various community centers and business incubators in marginalized communities. Creating an enabling environment for SMMEs to succeed also requires providing positive support to businesses so that they can grow and succeed. One example of the work done by this unit is the partnership with youth cafes and the Tusong centers in non-metro areas, specifically to increase awareness on the services and support available to entrepreneurs through the business support helpline service to young people in the Western Cape. Another example is the work done by the Red Tape Reduction Unit to assist early childhood development centers in townships to comply with the complex municipal and provincial registration regulations. So far, 48 ECDs are being assisted and another 24 earmarked for registration, which will go a long way to support the jobs in this valuable sector, also ensuring that there are safe and compliant ECDs to look after children while their parents work or are seeking work. Next, let me share some information on the SMME Booster Fund. The need to support business owners with key skills to ensure their businesses succeed is why we have this SMME Booster Fund, which aims to enhance the sustainability of rural, urban, township-based youth and people with disabilities, as well as women-owned SMMEs based in the province. So far, the fund has supported over 386 township-based businesses from areas such as Mbekweni, Kayamandi, Idas Valley, Khayelitsha, Gugulethu, Dunoon, Macassar, Philippi, Delft, KwaNokutula, and Zwelitsha, just to name a few. On the digital economy, in our rapidly changing world, the importance of the digital economy and connectivity cannot be understated, and it is a critical factor underpinning the future growth of the Western Cape and South Africa. This is why the Western Cape government is committed to boost the growth and development of the provincial economy through the support of broadband usage, infrastructure, and readiness through the stimulation of the digital adoption to improve competitiveness of businesses and therefore of the opportunities for citizens. We have supported a suite of projects to promote digital skills, ranging from basic to intermediate, to bridge the gap between the supply and demand for digital skills. One such example is the ICANN Centre in Elsie's River, which is a flagship and pioneering community-based centre developed in partnership with the City of Cape Town. It provides digital skills programs and has had more than 94,000 visitors to date after opening in 2015. Another example is, of course, the Khayelitsha Bandwidth Barn, which is the oldest township-based incubator in the country. The facility is run by the Cape Innovation and Technology Initiative and provides enterprise development programs to assist entrepreneurs through ICT enablement and to build, grow, and scale sustainable businesses. This program has assisted more than 1,100 township entrepreneurs. On to municipal economic support. Additionally, for us to be responsive to the service delivery needs of municipalities, the provincial government has assisted 8 municipalities to establish trading infrastructure to support both formal and informal businesses in township locations. The first 3 trading hubs in Laingsburg, Witzenberg, and Cape Agulhas were completed in February of this year and have created 45 jobs, while assisting 22 businesses by providing trading opportunities. I look forward to the opening of the trading facilities in the remaining 5 municipalities of Swellendam, Hessequa, Oudtshoorn, Langeberg, and Mossel Bay, which will be finalized early next year. And to further support municipalities across the province to make it easier for all businesses to do business, in March this year, we launched the 10 million Rand Ease of Doing Business Fund, which will support municipal interventions to provide regulatory burden support, improve business processes, and ensure effective communication to businesses with the overall impact of improving the environment in which businesses operate. Next, I turn to supporting township residential markets. Because property is a valuable asset which can be leveraged to support the opening of businesses and other benefits, the Western Cape government is partnering with local government to understand demand and supply in housing markets in our intermediate cities and larger towns, including townships. This intelligence on demand and supply in the residential property market supports township economies by identifying the importance of properties in townships to the residential market, affordability in that city or town, gaps that may be investment opportunities for developers, and the importance of an enabling environment for small-scale developers and landlords in townships as key responders to need. This valuable information will then allow us to understand how best to support the growth of property markets or to help us identify under-realized value that could be optimized through key interventions such as targeted incentives. Next, I'd like to share with you a little bit about the Regional Socio-Economic Projects Program, or the RCEP program. We are also working to improve spatial justice and to increase neighborhood development through the RCEP program, which is currently being implemented in 19 towns across the province. This RCEP program is about a capable state partnering with active citizens, communities, and other stakeholders to plan and implement projects that improve quality of life. The majority of projects funded through the program will be local and precinct-based, and these will mainly be neighborhood upgrading projects that involve the development of physical infrastructure. Infrastructure projects are supported by social projects that focus on providing activities, programs, or facilities for specific groups or to address social challenges within communities, such as early childhood development, education, safety, economic development, and social cohesion. And to ensure we empower SMMEs in the township economy with the information they need to comply with the legislative obligations regarding consumer protection, the Office of the Consumer Protector implements education and awareness campaigns on topics like general consumer protection issues that affect their businesses and basic financial literacy. Moving on, under our whole of government approach to enabling and empowering the township economy to reach its full potential, I'd briefly like to mention some other programs to achieve this objective. In townships, our Department of Agriculture has rolled out 10,000 food and community gardens to improve food security and has the Nourish to Flourish initiative, which focuses on food systems in townships. It also provides oversight of meat production facilities and has implemented mobile agri-processing units for townships and rural areas. I've included this slide in my presentation to give members an idea of the size and scale of the number of food gardens, both within the metro as well as the rest of the province. As provincial government, we work in consultation with municipalities and their indigent registers to ensure that we target citizens who need assistance by initiating home, school, and community food security projects, which is a targeted way of ensuring that those who need help can get it. Chairperson, we know that in order to do business efficiently and to expand, our SMMEs need a safe environment in which to operate, which is why the Provincial Safety Plan focuses on creating safe and cohesive communities. Just one of the interventions under this theme is the successful LEAP initiative, which deploys boots on the ground in hotspot areas. For example, Delft, Khayelitsha, Gugs, Mfuleni, Nyanga, Mitchell's Plain, Philippi East, and Kraaifontein, to name a few. Then on culture and sport, it's vital for the happiness and prosperity of communities that they have spaces in which to enjoy themselves and for children and youth to reap the benefits of sports. This is why the Department of Cultural Affairs and Sports works to unite people through sport and culture to ensure a creative and active Western Cape, bringing communities together in a strong and unified way to build a strong and unified nation so that we can create more opportunities through funding and collaboration. In conclusion, Chairperson, we know that if we want to achieve breakout economic growth that drives job creation, we must enable and support our SMMEs across all sectors, including the township and informal economies. It's clear that SMMEs are the engines of our economy as well as job creation. And if we hope to enable the growth, we need to create jobs to pull people out of poverty. It's our job to remove obstacles and to support the growth of the segment of the private sector. This means that we must cut red tape and provide the support that is needed to ensure that every single entrepreneur has the opportunity to succeed in South Africa, no matter who they are or where they set up shop. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Honorable Member. Honorable Members, I would like now to call MEC Duma from KwaZulu Natal.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chairperson. Chairperson, I would like to take this opportunity to greet the House as a council on provincial and municipal measures to unlock the full potential of the township economy, especially township enterprises and industries. As you know, indeed, we agree with the council that the township economy potential is largely untapped to its full potential, in particular to benefit our people. We also agree that catalytic programs should be in place in order to facilitate the inclusion of our people on this estimated 200 billion per year economy of the township economic value chain. Chairperson, I'm glad this NCOP sits exactly 3 days after Department of HR in KZN had hosted an indaba with our entity CEO, known as In Conversation with CEOs in KwaZulu-Natal. The entities that were present, including the Italas Fund, KZN Growth Fund, Trade and Investment KZN, Dube Trade Port, Richards Bay Trade Port, PRASA, Transnet, Sandral. We also had a panel that dealt with opportunities in specific in the tourism and environmental economic value chain sector. This conversation was oriented towards collaboration between big business and how their programs find their way to the township and rural economic zones. Chairperson, the flow of our presentation will touch in the main the background to our specific context, strategic goals, the pillars of intervention in the province, role of municipalities, both local and district, current initiatives underway, implementation, institutional arrangement, current progress and recommendations. The KZN province is one of the largest number of township and rural inhabitants. In fact, our 2 townships are in top 5 of South African townships in terms of population density. Most of our provincial population lives in townships. As in the main, these townships are located in boundaries that must be benefiting and they must be developed, ensuring the basic service delivery, the water, sanitation, security, refuse removal, and in many cases housing as well, is delivered and maintained efficiently and effectively according to a defined town planning and pressing planning scheme. Planning define the infrastructure layout and land use to enable development of human settlements. The development and maintenance of these human settlements are therefore central to the implementation in the province, Honorable Chair. Municipalities are required by legislation to draft and adopt the Integrated Development Plan in terms of Systems Act of 2000, which is Act 32, Honorable Chair. LED and plan strategies are also compacted in such a way that we ought to benefit. Spatial development framework, provision of the land use management system, planning for different developmental nodes within the municipality, and the envisaged service delivery requirements such as infrastructure, housing, economic activities. Chairperson, yes, it should be determined where and how development should take place in the Spatial Planned Management Act of 2013. For instance, provincial government departments should support those municipalities with limited capacity, support localization of delivery and maintenance on infrastructure for the benefit of township and rural economy. It is proposed, Honorable Chair, that COCTA provide host an annual platform for planners in the province from the public and private sector, perhaps also inviting some global professionals to discuss and share information on planning-related issues for townships and rural areas. Recommendation that the province support a few pilot projects in selected municipal areas for township brownfield redevelopment, township greenfield development, and rural development. Township and rural economy projects development and packaging. Technical support to township and rural enterprises include capacity development, access to finance, access to markets, and compliance, as we have outlined already behind and outlined above. As well, development of program action. Implementation, Honorable Chair, includes the issue of Ministerial Subcommittee on RT Technical Asset Cluster in the province, that other department, Itala, COCTA, social partners, municipality communities. These are components that deal deliberate with the issue of township strategy. We proceed, Honorable Chair, by highlighting that in terms of implementation phase, we've got series of workshops, stakeholder meetings, we've got government, private sector, civil society, organized labor, communities, and traditional leadership. With the same determination of this information goes to the second phase, which is the rollout of programmatic interventions. Action requires for implementation short, medium, and long term. Roles and responsibility of implementing agents, monitoring and evaluation progress according to the strategic goals. Then lastly, which yield into an output reviewed after a period of 5 years consider changing economic conditions and the progress made. That's a strategy review. The initial phase of the project is advocacy, targeting municipalities, private sector and government department. These interventions are done through one, government department's workshop, visual workshops conducted, excuse the present, the content of the strategy, seek buy-in government department, determine what each department is currently implementing towards the township and rural economies, and goal the 7 interdepartmental task pillars as per 7 pillars. Chairperson, the initial phase of the project is advocacy targeting municipalities. As we have outlined, we have currently opened the one-stop shop at Mkongundlovu district with one of our entities in Pietermaritzburg, which is going to deal with grading, which is going to deal with ATA as a department, to be spending almost 3 days to be assisting with AEIA in the process. A rollout of this one-stop shop is earmarked for all district municipalities in order to ensure that the township and rural business can access a one-stop place where they can get all their business needs. Other programs that are underway to support the township and rural strategy, and also making sure that each of the municipalities are grounded on the basis of this consolidated approach. Government department workshop, virtual workshops conducted. The main objectives are to present the content of the strategy. We've already highlighted that determine what each department is currently implementing towards the township and rural economies. Amongst the 7 pillars, key matters is the task team that coordinate, that have been nominated already, reporting template designed to specific needs of our people, in particular, intertwined with the strategy of rural economic development and the PGDP of the province. Initial meetings held with ITC and ITFC to continue. District workshop targets audience, LED practitioners, town regional planners, business chambers, forums, NGOs, sector forums, DDAs, and any other relevant stakeholders. The purpose of the district workshops are to inform strategic partners on the content and intention of the strategy, to obtain buy-in and commitment to realize strategic implementation, to coordinate implementing of the strategy and monitoring of the objectives across all 7 pillars as identified, to provide information on applicability to these pillars, timing and role responsibility. The district workshops that has been held already since the 17th of August, which was Zululand, 24th of August, I went to King Chaya up to Ilembe district. Probable number of attendees has been in the number of 268, and we are intending to ensure that we increase the scope and we go and zoom to deeper analysis in ensuring that endleleni akekho ngisho yedwa osala ngemuva. We want to take this stake, and thank you, Honorable Chairperson, for affording us this opportunity. After COVID, flood, and July unrest, we hope that KwaZulu-Natal will blossom and embrace the principle of Batupile, where our people advance at the sectoral age. We want to thank you so much, Honorable Chairperson.
Thanks very much, Honorable Member.
KZN.
Order KZN. Thanks very much, Honorable Duma. Honorable members, we are now going to do questions and a response from the MECs. Before I start with the questions, I wanted to announce that 2 provinces, Northern Cape and Northwest, they are not on the platform. Hence, we are going to the questions now. I would like to open for the members to raise their questions. Thank you very much, honorable members. Questions? Honorable Bishop, you are number 1, followed by Honorable Dango. Honorable Dango, followed by Honorable Ryder. Okay. In that order, Honorable Bishop.
Thank you very much, House Chair. My question is being directed to the MEC or the acting MEC in Mpumalanga, Honorable Shongwe. Honorable Shongwe, you rightly said that you are all out to stimulate economy and growth. But what I would like to know from you is how will you create a conducive environment with regards to the regulatory environment, if I can put it that way? And then I would also like to know how you have partnered with the various municipalities throughout Mpumalanga, and if you are able to give us a report on that, because I would like to see for myself what the agreement is between your department and then the municipalities on stimulating and growing the economy. Furthermore, you speak of the mineral benefication. We all know that Mpumalanga is sorry, Chair, I see your lips are moving. Are you trying to say something?
No, honorable member, sorry, you can continue.
Thank you very much. Let me start again. I spoke about you spoke about the mineral benefication. We know that Mpumalanga is rife with illegal mining taking place all over the province. We've even had Home Affairs and DMR in Mpumalanga recently. And there is no way that you're going to get this right until you have settled the issue with these illegal miners. So I'd like to know from you how you're going to address the issue to see how we can get mineral benefication to all. We know that everybody that tries to speak to them or address the issue are threatened with their lives. Then I'd also like to know what engagement you've taken place to grow the tourism economy. As we know, the northern villages where Leroro, Matabidi, Marumela, etc., are, the roads are not in a very conducive state, and many tourists have just decided to not go to those places anymore, and it's hampering our informal sector, because we know that many of our workers sit around at the Macmac Falls, at the Bladder River Canyons, etc., and it's their livelihood. So please give me some background on how you're going to engage to see to it that our roads are set up and that our informal sectors work in conducive environments. Then I'd like to know from you the Sumitomo Rubber Initiative. You spoke about where they're taking place, etc., There is this huge rubber, I don't know what you can call it, a storage place on the N4 just outside of Belfast on the way to Middelburg. Can you expatiate on that and what those tires are going to be used for? And then you also mentioned Mega. Honorable Acting MEC, we all know Mega is defunct. So how are they going to ensure that enough financial support is given to businesses? And then you spoke about the huge budget constraints you have. And I didn't see anything in your presentation speaking to partnerships with private partnerships, private-public partnerships. So if you could give us some feedback on that, I would appreciate it. Thank you very much, Honorable House Chair.
Thanks very much, Honorable Bishop. The next question is going to ask by Honorable Dango.
Thank you very much, Honorable House Chairperson. House Chairperson, my question is to the MEC for the Western Cape. Have they attempted to quantify the impact of organized crime on the economy in the areas mentioned, e.g. Delft, and those areas, Nyanga, and what is the impact of that particular quantification on the development of the economy in the urban areas that they are administering? Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Honorable Dango. The next question is going to ask by Honorable Ryder. Honorable Rider.
Thank you very much, House Chair. House Chair, I've noted the presentations from the various provinces, and in quite strong. Yes, can you hear me?
Honorable Rider, your sound
In
is
stark
very
contrast
limited.
to the
Honorable Rider.
presentation from the National Department, which seemed to focus quite strongly on creating a conducive environment, more focused on one or two. Yeah, let me log out.
Honorable Rider.
Chair, I think it's best to log out and log in again and try and just now.
Yes, yes, it's fine.
Chairperson, I will not continue. You'll give him a space again.
No, I'm not. Sizawuqhuba ngithi funeka ndinibekezelele na, honorable members. Even yourself, if you've got a challenge that the honorable member is having, you'll want me also to be patient for you. So, but because he's still struggling, I would like now to call Honorable Mushori. I'll come back. Ndakuba Msileko.
Bekezela, uyabuya upha wami, uyabuya.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Mine is not a question as such, Honorable House Chair. It's a comment to the MEC and Ntate Mohale from the Free State. Honorable House Chair, I would like just to thank this opportunity to thank the MEC Ntate Mohale for his viable contribution to this important ministerial briefing. Our MEC deserves applaud from the hard work that he has done and he's still doing in our township communities. The MEC of the Free State, Ntate Mohale, regularly visit all the districts in the Free State to stay in touch with the needs of our communities. Honorable House Chairperson, I would like to say thank you, MEC Ntate Mohale, and keep up the good work that we're working. Lastly, Honorable Chair, in your program, Ntate Mohale, I will request you, when you visit the small area, don't forget, please, to visit Eatonville in Fezile Dabi. I know you touched some of the areas in that region, but I would request you also to consider Eatonville in Fezile Dabi. Thank you very much, Honorable House Chair, to allow me to make your comment to my MEC in the Free State. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Honorable Member. Honorable members, I would like now to call Honorable Muletan. Meanwhile, Honorable Rider, I'll call you when I see that you are in the platform. Thank you. Honorable Muletan.
Thank you, Chair of the session. Mine is to the Free State MEC Mohale. MEC, there's a group of men and women, 10 of them, 6 women and 4 men. They are into poultry farming. They've been listed a farm. They've listed a farm from the Machabeng municipality. They are now in their 2nd year. But their biggest challenge is the equipment. They don't have tractors. They don't have tools to work the land. They don't have protected clothes. Your intervention, MEC, will be highly, highly appreciated if you can intervene. They are calling themselves Bahlakwana farmers. Secondly, MEC, there's a group of Machabeng Industrial Park, which I believe you know about them. You did intervention for this group after they were financed by the government. It was in 2020. You intervened to say that the Machabeng and the eligible Putswa must assist them. Yes, they promised you that they will give them a place where they will operate from, and they did give them a place. But the biggest problem with that place that they availed, it doesn't have electricity, it doesn't have security. As we speak, some of those men and women, they have lost their equipment. It has been stolen because that place doesn't have a security. As we speak, that place that is still without electricity. So it means the machines that the department has bought for them, they are just stuck there. They cannot use them because there's no electricity. So I will request you again, MEC, for your intervention to make sure that there's electricity in that place there and the security for them. Thank you, Chair of the session.
The next question is going to be asked by Honorable High.
Thank you very much, Honorable House Chairperson. My question, let me first say thank all the MECs and the SALGA for their inputs. Chair, my question goes to Western Cape MEC and also to SALGA. This morning when some members were making questions to the minister and deputy minister, they raised the issue of harassment of the informal sector. I would like to know if the MEC from Western Cape, if this has been brought to her attention, and if yes, what has she done about it? But if it has not been brought to her attention, is she committing to investigate and report to the chairperson of the National Council of Provinces, and also to SALGA as to whether they checking with all the municipalities, as it is body of local government, as to whether informal sector is not being harassed, particularly in the townships. Thank you so much, Honorable House.
Thanks very much, Honorable High. The next question is going to ask by Honorable Gondlo.
Thank you, House Chair. Two questions, Chair. One to SALGA, whether in their own assessment, the kind of regulatory environment, particularly the bylaws in municipalities, are they favorable to township enterprises, and the extent to which them as SALGA have actually raised or engaged with municipalities around the problem of township infrastructure, which is very important and is lacking in the main for those that are enterprising in the township. The second one, Chair, I would also want to comment the MEC in Free State, because one of the things, Chair, that one appreciates is their approach to commodity linkage of the township economy or township enterprises. Because what is important is that we should, because we're talking about a township economy, where we understand both the consumption side, but also the production side, because most of what at times we do is to allow the township to be spaces where those that are actually responsible or are dominating in the production space actually use the township as spaces, to sell their products. So one is very happy to see this approach that actually tries to build the production capacity of the townships. And I must say, Chair, I think this session becomes important because that issue the MEC is raising of a coordinated effort at a national level is really gonna leave all these great efforts of provinces wanting, because you can imagine all the different funds, all the different initiatives, you know, that are so disjointed and coming from the same fiscus. If we were to calculate all the money that goes into the same kitty and what is the actual output and impact of this work, we may be found wanting. And therefore, Chair, part of what I would want actually the MEC from the Western Cape, where I come from, to speak on is the issue of crime, because one of the biggest challenges of township businesses and township enterprises is the level of crime in the township, and how such is actually looked at as an economic issue, not only just as a social problem. Because I've seen for some time in the suburbs or in the most industrial spaces, you will find the concept of business against crime, where businesses will come together and including your security cluster would have a prioritization of businesses in those spaces. But you don't get that in the townships, where you find that there is an actual focus on township businesses, where including the safety ecosystem is alive to that reality. Whether it's something from the Western Cape that the MEC, in as far as all the measures to actually promote growth of township, is something that they are looking at and they are working on. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks very much, Honorable Member. Honorable Nana.
Thank you very much, Mamungwenya. Good afternoon, colleagues. Some of the issues I wanted to raise have been raised by colleagues. And my questions are directed to MEC Mvoko from the Eastern Cape. The first one would be what I raised in the morning with Deputy Minister Gina. And she made a commitment that she will be following it up with me. So MEC Mvoko will know that I'm a bit subjective when I talk about the late Honorable Mrs. son, because we were quite close to one another. But I am really not talking about him and his business alone. There are many other pop-up businesses across the province that are similar to his. It could be videography, it could be photography, it could be car wash, it could be what Siolisa is doing. There are many Siolisas out there. I would really want to check with the MEC. What plans do they have as the department to firstly ensure that the many Siolisas out there are harnessed, developed, and become proper entrepreneurs? But also, besides harnessing the many Siolisas out there, what plans do they have to incentivize youth to take up entrepreneur as a career? The second question, Mamungwenya, Honorable Kondla has touched on it briefly about the crime in the townships. The MEC will agree with me. In the Eastern Cape, we have a mushrooming crime that is threatening businesses in township, and this is extortion. Small businesses are being extorted. They are made to pay protection fees on a weekly or monthly basis by various gangs in our townships in the Eastern Cape. But what is even more worrisome is the spate of kidnappings that are starting to spike as we go towards the festive season. Now, I would want to check with the MEC whether he has been in contact with his counterparts in the security cluster, so as to deal with these criminal elements in our communities, because truly speaking, they do threaten our small businesses in the townships. Thank you very much, Mamuni.
Thanks very much, Honorable Nana. Honorable Malika, your hands was up, but now I don't see your hands anymore. I would like us to, okay. Honorable Lutul. Can you please come in?
Yebo, ngiyazwakala Mama Ngwenya.
Yebo, uyazwakala Tata.
Ngibonge. Owami umbuzo uqondiswe kubaba uDuma lapha kaZulu Natal. Eqani ngeke ngawubuza nalombuzo ku minister ukuthi iziphi inhlelo abanazo ukuvala igebe phakathi kosomabhizinisi abakhulu nosomabhizinisi abancane, ikakhulukazi mesiya kulento yokuthola uxhaso nokwazi ukuthi amanani abadayisa ngawo impahla alingane noma abonakale efana, ungabona umuntu egijimela ekaBoxer noma eSpar kunokuthi athenge kumama wasespaza shop oseduze kwasekhaya. But omunye umbuzo engifuna ukubuza kubaba uDuma ukuthi ngiyamuzwa ukukhuluma ukuthi 2 weeks or ey'nsukwini ey'dlule nje kade kukhona indaba ebikhona ukuthi uma besebenze zonke izinhlelo abazenzayo nawo ama-program abawenzayo bayaqinisekisa yini ukuthi umuntu osendwedwe ekasonkombe uyalithola ulwazi lokuthi if edinga ukulekeleleka ukuthi akwazi ukukhulisa umnotho endwedwe ngesitolo sakhe esincanyana asiranayo ulitholaphi, nanokuthi onke lama funding akhona singenza kanjani ukuthi angagcini nje khulunywa lapha phezulu kepha ehle ayey'ndaweni ey'fana konkandla ey'fana nakomsinga nakomtubatuba. Yilokho okwami, ngiyabonga kakhulu.
Thanks very much, Honorable Lituli. Honorable members, I wanted to check Honorable Ryder, that is it he back, and if he's not back, Siyakuba, I would like the MEC to be ready to raise their hands to answer the questions that the members have been asked them. Honorable Nana, can you please load down your hands? Thank you. Honorable MECs, Honorable Duma, Honorable Nkondlo, if you are still the answer from Ms. Nkondlo, what that was asked by Honorable Nana. Mpumalanga. Yes, MEC. MEC.
Yes, Chairperson.
Thank you very much.
MEC Mvoko.
Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you.
I would like to start. On the second question, I want to start with the second question from Honorable Nana on the extortions and the crime elements. Start by saying, yes, it is. We are working together with the MEC for safety in the province in trying to deal with elements of crime. You are correct. It's now something that is all over the province and really needs our attention. That is why you would find that the MEC is crisscrossing the province, dealing with this. Yesterday, you might have seen today, I think yesterday he was in Humansdorp dealing with exactly the challenges of crime. So it's something that we are working together about. Just to keep it, not to divulge more, but yeah, direct answer would be we are working together. On the plans for entrepreneurs, as well as the incentives for youth, what we did in the Eastern Cape, Honorable Chair, Honorable Nana would agree that one of the ways in which we wanted to incentivize the youth was by creating a fund specifically for the youth. That anyone who is under 35 years, 35 and under would benefit from. And that is called Isikalo Youth Fund. So the objective was to ensure that there is a fund created just for the youth, so as to ensure that they don't fall within the cracks. I do know that we've had quite a lot of challenges in terms of the youth accessing them, because some of them would want to access it without following due process, and some of them with no credible business plans and all of that. But we then embarked on a tour, if I could say, and secondly on a partnership on all the funds. Even if you are in the LRED fund, we do them now through district and metro municipalities. We partner with them. We allow the district municipalities and local municipalities to talk to the youth, to encourage them to apply, because it wasn't working just being done by the provincial department. So these are all attempts to ensure that we encourage the youth to access, and everyone else to access the funds. On the plans for entrepreneurs as well, we have a pre-support and an after support. We don't just fund a person and disappear. After funding the person, we monitor the person over time to ensure that when the person encounters some challenges, we are close by to assist non-financially, because we even offer that non-financial support. And the reason for that is to nurture the person, to ensure that the person grows and becomes an entrepreneur. So we do have that. So it's a program within DDIT itself to ensure that whoever gets funded is assisted. So yes, we do have plans to make sure that they are proper entrepreneurs through our funding, through our aftercare or post funding support, and and the youth is encouraged as well, because there's a fund specifically for them. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson.
Thanks very much, Honorable Shongwe. Then the next question, the next answering question is going to be MEC M. Veke from Western Cape.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson, again. Sorry, now we're just being attacked by load shedding, but otherwise we'll use my phone to get light. I'm here to respond on the question raised by Honorable Bishop with regards to tourism. How do we grow tourism in the province? And she spoke more of roads that are damaged, and I want to respond as follows as a department, that we are working with both municipalities and the Department of Roads and Transport. Honorable Bishop, you will understand that there are municipal roads and provincial roads. With regards to municipal roads, we engage the municipalities through our MUNMEC that they need to repair roads that are within their jurisdiction. And with regards to provincial roads, we work with the Department of Roads and Transport in the province to make sure that they are being reworked and fixed so that we can get more tourists coming to visit our province. That's the response with regard to that. She also asked that how are we partnering with local municipalities in terms of stimulating the economy of the province. We do that through the DDM by bringing services closer to the people, and we got what we call a one-stop shop, where all services are being rendered in almost all of the local municipalities. The company registrations are happening in all three municipalities in our province. Another question was with regards to the Sumitomo Rubber South Africa that we're partnering with. Here we want to respond by saying the huge rubber storage along the N4 that we have mentioned, Honorable Boshoff, is not part of our program. I think it's a private initiative, but we will investigate to whom it belongs. But the department will investigate that matter and will give you a response in future. The relationship with Sumitomo Rubber South Africa is currently limited to supporting rural and township tire fitment centers. We are formalizing the business and ensuring that they do not trade on second-hand tires, but have access to the market of new tires. We open trading accounts for them, 30 days payment arrangement done, buy them equipment, support them with technical training and skills, and also the business system. And we do the branding for their facilities. This is how we support them. Another question was with regard to the illegal miners. Honorable Boshoff, you will note that mining is a national competence, but however, we collaborate with the DMER and big mining houses to formalize the illegal miners and also allow them to supply their processed minerals to big mining houses and also provide them with necessary equipment, but also taking note that some of them are illegal in a way that they are not even known by the department. So in that regard, the Department of Subs is being engaged to deal with those that are coming to steal our minerals and leave our country bankrupt. Another question was regard to Mega. The question was like, how do we make sure that there's enough financial support to MMCs by Mega? We accept that Mega has a lot of challenges, but we are continuously working towards its improvement. And we have currently successfully rolled out the Mpumalanga Youth Development Fund through Mega, where to date, almost 64 youth-owned businesses have been funded and supported at a tune of 72.5 million. 21 are from Ehlanzeni, 18 from Hartisbande, and 21 from Nkangala. And we're still rolling out that program. And we're still in a process of assessing a business plans for this current financial year, and will continue as such, especially because it focuses more on the township and rural small business enterprises. The last one was about the triple P. She wanted to know whether we do have triple Ps that we're engaged with as a department. And we want to respond as follows, that the department has formal relationships with a number of organizations for the support of rural and township SMMEs, and MOUs have been signed with some of them. I will indicate here that we have a formal relationship with Sasol, with SAP, with Sumitomo Rubber South Africa, which is also known as Dunlop, the South African Bureau of Standards, and ISCOM, just to mention a few that we have. I hope I've met your expectation, Honorable Boshoff. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thanks very much, MEC. Also, thank you to Honorable Mvoko from Eastern Cape. And now I would like to call Honorable Becher, MEC, Western Cape.
Thank you very much, House Chairperson. In response to Honourable Dangle's question about quantifying organised crime on the economy, there are studies indeed about the effects of organised crime within townships, but to my knowledge, we don't have formal quantification of the exact effects in terms of growth rates or rands and cents. However, anecdotal evidence suggests that business operations are definitely being affected, as well as inhibiting investment. We also know that extortion is a problem, and we know that township businesses are being extorted. And unfortunately, complainants very often are afraid to open cases with the police, and so we need to do whatever we can to try and prevent it. And for that reason, the Department of Economic Development and Tourism participates on the SAPS ProvJocs to try and mitigate some of the effects of extortion. In response to Honourable Rai's question, I'm afraid I didn't hear it very well, but it was something along the lines of informal trading, which then does lie in the municipal sphere, the regulating of the permitting. I did mention in the presentation the kind of support we offer to municipalities, but on the specifics in the municipal sphere, I'll leave that question then to Selga, as it was also posed there. And then finally, the comment from Honourable Mkondlo. I'd like to thank her for her important insights on the link between safer spaces and safety for economic development in townships. I fully agree that those things should go hand in hand and support those remarks. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thanks very much, Honourable Member. And
Chair,
next answering question.
Chairperson,
Honourable Nana. Yes.
I'm sorry for doing this to you. When I just want to state for the record that when I got kicked out of the platform, and unfortunately, MEC Mvoko was apparently responding to my questions. I just want to state for the record that I didn't get out of the platform out of my own liking, but I got kicked out. However, what I will do, I will actually go and listen to the YouTube recording of the MEC's response. I just wanted to raise that. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks very much, Honourable Member. Councillor Mabale, your hands is up.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. On behalf of SALGA, to the question raised, what I wanted to say is we'll make sure that as SALGA, the response is in submission. We'll submit in response to all the questions that are raised on behalf of SALGA. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair.
Thanks very much, Honourable Member. MEC Mohale. I don't know whether there was a question, but when I was listening, looks like it's a comment. But if you wanted to say something, Honourable, you are welcome to do that. MEC Mohale from Free State.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Chair. Indeed, I heard the inputs of honourable members were just comment. Safe to say, I have taken note of the request of Honourable Moletsani. I will speak to him for further details so that we continue with that intervention like we have done last time, as it's indicated. But other than that, we just like to thank the members for positive comments. Those are the comments that give us strength to continue doing more for our township businesses. I really like to thank that. Thanks, Chair.
Thanks very much, Honourable Member. The next answer is MEC Munama Lupompo. MEC Munama, is it any question you want to answer? Okay, Siakuba. MEC Duma, there was a question again to you from Honorable Ntuli.
Luthuli.
Honorable Ntuli. Sorry. Honorable MEC Duma from KZN. Siyakuba, the whip of KZN is here to assist me with MEC Duma, because there was a question Mamu Pipi. But now ngathi akasekho la ngaphakathi.
Thanks, Chairperson. And no, I will revert to him so that he can do it, I mean, on writing. Going at a problem here network, yes.
Thanks very much, Whip. The hands of our Chief Whip is up. Oh, we tell you, I say Chief Whip. Salga.
Yeah, thank you once more, Honorable Chairperson. I think I've made submission as Salga that will make sure that all the questions raised, we respond in writing, and then we will do so by sending them to the Honorable Chairperson of the NCOP in writing. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thanks very much, honorable members. Honorable members, I would like now, that's the end of our question and the response. I would like now to call Honorable Mohai, the Chief Whip of NCOP, to do the closing remarks. Over to you, Chief Whip Mohai.
Thank you very much, House Chair, and distribution and accumulation. The core feature of this crisis is, among others, the widening gap between the rich and the poor. This is more acutely pronounced in the developing economies of the global south that continue to be characterized by stagnant growth, low productivity, low manufacturing base, and poorly developed export-led agricultural base. In the South African context, the concentration of the economy continued to be defined by legacy of the apartheid past, spatial development framework underscored by race and gender. At the core of this spatial framework is a concentration of the indigenous African majority and blacks in the townships that are underdeveloped with no economic infrastructure on the one hand, and on the other hand, concentration of the white minority in the urban centers that are highly developed with sound economic infrastructure and ownership patterns. To address this inequality requires targeted and deliberate policy interventions that do not only develop the township economy, but more importantly, to integrate it in the mainstream economy. Chairperson, this continues to relegate the economy in the township to be mainly driven by backyard hair, beauty salons, taverns, spaza shops, small mini markets, bottle stores, small butcheries, vegetable fruits markets, and offshoots of other small informal enterprises. What we have witnessed over the last 28 years of our democracy is the continuation of the concentration of development in the rich urban centers far away from the townships. The development of malls in the townships with the opening of big retail markets have not opened possibilities for ownership or empowerment of the local small business as they remain mere consumers. Chairperson, as presentations by the two departments have demonstrated today, much work has been undertaken by government to mainstream the township economy within the mainstream economy. This is not for its own sake, but to integrate the critical sector of economy into the mainstream economy. We appreciate the interventions that the government continues to make in turning the small business into viable economic activity to address challenges of unemployment, poverty. Honorable Minister and Deputy Minister, I'm sure you will agree that various government departments are making significant strides towards economic development of the township. But what remains as a challenge is the poor intergovernmental coordination and integration to maximize the impact of our policy interventions within the limits of available resources. Honorable MECs from respective provinces have really shared with us very important initiatives. And for us as a council, we really need to follow up on some of the innovative initiatives that are taken by various provinces. So as always, to ensure that we find the best model to attend the triple challenges of unemployment, poverty, and inequality in our communities. Chairperson, members have sharply raised the challenges of regulatory framework on the small and informal business. In his State of the Nation address, Honorable President has made public commitments towards a review of the current regulatory framework to address some of the regulatory bottlenecks facing the small and informal businesses. There is no doubt that local sphere of government is located at the cutting edge of the facilitation, support, and empowerment of small and informal businesses. Development in our country, it is the local government that plays a critical role in the licensing and regulation of small and informal businesses. Honorable Chair, it will be critical that further engagements between the departments and our relevant select committees are pursued to explore how various government departments at provincial and national level are collaborating with the local government through the district development model to leverage the small and informal business development. According to the study by the Investec conducted in 2021, an estimated 17% of South Africa's total employment is through the informal economy or township economy. And the township economy contributes 6% to the gross domestic product, GDP. Accordingly, this is a sector of the economy that we cannot be casual about if we are indeed to push back the frontiers of unemployment, poverty, and inequality. We cannot be apologetic about the role the state has to play in decisively playing a catalytic role in development of the township economy through various instruments that it must employ to ensure that majority of the people in this space are benefiting to government policy interventions. Honorable members, Chairperson, lastly, when we talk about development of small and informal business development, we will not do justice to this critical subject if we do not address the fundamental question of the role of the established big business in the development of the small and informal businesses. Critical among these challenges that the small businesses face is a lack of basic training and skills, lack of access to the markets, and harassment by authorities. The established big business can play a critical role in training and skilling development in the sector, in the various sectors, and also by opening up markets for small township businesses. Chairperson, to conclude, allow me to thank the Honorable Minister and Deputy Minister for honoring the invite to attend to this important briefing, and also appreciate our special delegates, the MECs who are present here today, the representative of the South African Local Government Association, SALGA, and the honorable members for really going through these elaborate presentations and ensuring that these are areas of work that will never fail to dedicate more oversight work to ensure that majority of our people are benefiting to this. Thanks very much for also what happened in the morning. Thank you so much, Mewini. Yalebo.
Thanks very much, Chief Whip, and happy birthday again. We are still waiting for the cake. Happy birthday, Chief Whip. Honorable members, that concludes the business of the day. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, Mangwenya.
Recording stopped.